Hey guys and welcome back to my channel. This is part 5 of What If Naruto Was in Teen Titans. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also go and support the author, link in description. You did what? What a beautiful morning for the shrieking of shock from the one named Jinx. How in the I can't even but why? Interesting vocabulary indeed. Naruto groaned, sitting in the medical room as Gizmo checked him up. The second he walked in, he collapsed, but what was worse was when he took off his suit and Jinx seen the bruises, as well as welts that still looked to be healing. She had him in there with Gizmo checking on him, and Gizmo himself, after seeing the damaged suit, had warranted the right for an explanation. When he got done with that, he told them about why he didn't make it back by nightfall last night, and to say he gave too much information was to understate the matter. Jinx was pissed. How about freezing those daggers that you are trying to shoot from your eyes and think, then ask, then I can answer. At the moment you forget that I am kind of in the need of a deep hibernation. Jinx growled under her breath, trying hard not to grind her teeth to dust. Let me get this straight. You go in, do something for Lex, fight all the Kryptonians, plus the Titans, even Darkseid of all people, and win. Then, as you await a dramatic time to leave, you do the deed with Supergirl. How can I not be pissed? You promised me a chance, and look at what you did. Naruto did feel a little ashamed of it. The fallout from overusing his powers, the fight itself knocking him around to the point he still couldn't think straight, and the fact he couldn't even move for about 5 hours was paramount to the whole ordeal. But the facts were not lost on him. Everything up to the win is correct. I wasn't trying to make a dramatic exit. You try facing all those people alone in the span of an hour and tell me if you can move. If she so deemed it necessary to jump my bones, I would have been powerless to stop her. Heck, I doubt I'd have had the strength to fight her off if she wanted to kill me, which is not in their moral code. Even trying to explain it was difficult, as Jinx just bounced back to the fact it happened. Obviously not her moral code to keep the paragon of all that is good and righteous if she looks for a fling. Not to mention you could have easily talked her into just leaving you alone. If you could talk her into that, then you could have talked her out of it. Being amused by 0%, Naruto just deadpanned his response to that one. And getting knocked around like a rag doll, with mental, physical, and spiritual fallout makes me smarter. Forgive me for being the only man in your world to be totally sane and in my right mind enough to say, sorry I got someone I'm staring at already, and it's not you, because I am quite sure I am hardly sane. Grabbing and tugging her hair, Jinx growled and groaned out in frustration at once again having to hear his excuses. You are just unbelievable. I thought we were starting to bond, to finally get things started. You were just about to give me a chance, to finally let me in, and you just go and gobble up a hussy. I thought we had something. Naruto sighed and looked down sadly. Look, nothing I say will be any kind of good news, nor will you even listen. I do feel ashamed. I shouldn't have done that. For quite a couple reasons, actually, but how about you let me talk and then we can judge how to go from here. Getting a nod, he took a deep breath. Me and you are not together. Not yet. Until we are actually an item, which we aren't. I have done nothing wrong except get close to you and, suddenly, sexually interact with another woman. But I was not going to keep this from you. Unlike the harlots of my world, I was going to tell you, say I am sorry, and try to get this all in the past. I would happily go back there, with you in arm, and tell her that until me and you don't work out, she should just forget about me. Jinx was kind of taken back by that. Between him telling her they weren't together, and then switching to wanting to, she didn't know what to say. He had a point. They weren't together, not really. They haven't gotten past the teammate and friend stage, even after this long together. Sighing, she turned her back to him and frowned. She was angry and sad, but most of all frustrated. She needed to think. Look, until you are feeling better and I am not so furious with you, don't even say a single letter of any word to me. I need to think, and the only thing I have on my mind is yelling at you for doing such a thing after all we have been through. Bye. She walked out and Naruto sighed heavily at that. He actually expected much worse. He did wonder how this was going to play out. Regardless of his sanity and state of mind, he did, consciously, tease Supergirl and did such. He even promised to visit and share her with Jinx. He'd have to explain that when Jinx was feeling better. Gizmo snickered a bit before looking to Naruto. Oh, you lucky, and very unlucky, bastard. You hit it with a hottie like Supergirl. But now you have to face the wrath of Jinx. Getting a roll of the eyes, he turned serious, frowning as he came up to Naruto. Look, she's a sister to me. So I have every right to knock you around and deny you medical treatment. Heck, I would even go so far as to torture your ass until you get it through your skull never to do that again. Naruto nodded to that. He really didn't know what else to say than what he already did, and Gizmo didn't look finished. Sighing, he looked to his short technician. And I won't. Regardless of what Jinx is thinking or feeling, I do care for her, and I would love to find out if she is the one for me. She's stayed by my side and everything for years. It's high time I let her in. But part of me is scared of it, and the past fact of her going for cyborg when I arrived pops into my mind. Suddenly it turns into Sakura and Sasuke, not Jinx and Cyborg. Softening his glare, Gizmo understood Naruto better than the rest. In fact, Naruto told him everything, every detail, of his past. He knew Naruto didn't want this to go down as his turn to ruin a relationship by going for another person. Just let her relax. You've been good to her. Heck, before you came along, she would have blasted you to Kingdom Come because she couldn't control herself. But she's better, calmer, more in control of her powers. She's a better person now, and she's not about to let this ruin her chances of love, when she's so close after years of chasing you. Naruto smiled at Gizmo, nodding. With a sad sigh he looked back to the door Jinx left through. Still, what I fear most is my sudden speech to Supergirl. The one that practically started the seducing. That speech, and what I promised, I would rather Jinx not hate me for it all. Gizmo caught on that this was going to be the game changer. Alright, I'll bite. What exactly happened here? You gave her a short and sour version, but there has to be more, knowing you. Naruto scowled, feeling sick to his stomach. Promise not to tell her. I want to be the one to do it. Getting a nod he groaned more and thought of the best way to put it. Honest and true. He hoped Gizmo didn't fry his ass after this. XXX 1 month later XXX. It has been a month since Metropolis, and to say that the cool down was relaxing was far from the truth. As soon as the Titans came back, it was all-out chaos with Dr. Light, a little mix-up between Mad Mod's British insanity trying to turn Jump City into the next palace for the Queen, and that small fire turned huge down by the ports when some unknown entity managed to set off some sort of sulfur-based bomb. That wasn't even the whole of the matter. There were suddenly appearances of 3 people stealing some metal. It had a distinct factor of style with X, but much stealthier, more about the in and out, and it seemed as if some of the time there were not races of anyone, yet something was still stolen. The only reason they knew it was a group of 3 was a few cameras picked them up. Otherwise, they didn't exist. Though it wasn't a total flop. The team of Titans were well on their way of growing much stronger and finally beating X without any undue interruptions. The team was in the large main room, Static and Cyborg going over some of the specs of upgrading the tower itself, maybe even invest in some higher grade security overlays to know beforehand what is going on. Starfire was nervously trying to get the hang of cooking, and she was thankful Donna was able to help. The two were much closer now that Nightwing was back in the lead. Raven was meditating as always, and thankful that Beast Boy and Kid Flash were not trying to interrupt her with video games. They were actually trying to figure out the mystery behind the fire a while ago. Superboy and Nightwing themselves were the only ones not in the room. Superboy was training, and Nightwing was going to be back from patrol soon. But just when it was getting into a routine, the unexpected happened, and the alarm of the tower went off. Raven awoke with a start, and everyone looked to the alarm system. It was their own tower. Cyborg jumped from the system's platform and rushed to the main computer, and started checking the systems. Kid Flash looked to him. Hey, the lockdown start up. I could check the place if I had clear passage. Cyborg clicked open all the doors and started on finding the intruder. Go, man, I got this. Raven was already doing the same, and she gasped as she felt the energy new to the tower. Turning when he heard that, Cyborg stopped looking. What is it? Find them. Raven looked to the door, as did everyone, and they all saw someone standing there. It's someone from the world X came from. Kid Flash stopped, having tried to race off when he saw the intruder. Hearing Raven he looked shocked. No way. The 3 who got away from us were blondes. And a pink-haired girl. This is none of those. It was true, as a young woman with long black hair and pale lavender eyes stood in the doorway, holding a travel bag and wearing a sleeveless GI with a badge of some sort on her chest, telling the school of martial arts she hails from. Hello, Titans. Am I interrupting something? Raven was sure of it. This woman was from the same world. But they never knew this one from the group after X. Who are you? Are you here to get revenge for when we beat your team that ambushed us? The woman smiled kindly, setting her bag on the ground. Not at all. In fact, I should be thanking you for that. She frowned after that, looking around. I guess he isn't here at the moment. Cyborg had his cannon aimed, but not activated. Who you looking for? And why did you break in if not to attack us? The woman put her hands together and bowed. My name is Hinata Hyuga. I am certain you know of my cousin, Neji. That clicked to them. They remembered the pale eyes from the guy they sent back. Starfire was up in the air, her hands and eyes glowing. So you are here for revenge, for sending him back to the world you came from. Hinata raised back up and glared at Starfire. No, I am not. My purpose here is to ask the one named Nightwing a question. Seeing as this tower is not open to the public, the only way for me to come in would be to walk in. Which I did, and it was easy. Static knew otherwise. Come on, girl, you gotta be kidding me. This place isn't running on outdated software here. Smiling at the electrical hero, Hinata crossed her arms under her chest. No, but you forget. I am a ninja, and a very good one at that. To me, as it was to the group my cousin came with last time, the system is only that, a system. It can be beat. It was strange. Raven felt something powerful and hidden inside this woman, but didn't really understand what. It was as if she was two people. Seeing as Hinata wasn't moving, she was calm and collected just standing there. Raven looked to her team. They were all ready to fight if she moved against them. Hinata sighed and raised her hands up, as if surrendering. I did not come here to fight you. I came here to talk to Nightwing. I am willing to sit and wait, but I am not the one acting hostile here. Well, that threw them all for a loop. She breaks in, is a part of the same world the others were, and not wanting to be hostile. Thankfully, Donna saw this as true and, being second in command of the team, stood down. It's okay, guys. She's right, she hasn't attacked us. If she was truly as strong as the others, she would have already attacked. Hinata frowned at that, glaring at the Amazonian. Not as strong. Sorry, but I am even stronger than them. I would watch that tone. If you would be so kind. That took Donna back, and she could feel the frustration at her remark aimed at her. Thankfully, this little meet and greet got back on track with Nightwing coming into the room, but instead of a normal hello, a surprise attack, or even a simple question, it was a gawking shock to him that Hinata was even here. Hinata, what are you doing here? I thought you were still in training. Hinata smiled and turned around slowly, lowering her hands. I was, but I had finished a few months upon your departure. I see you are using the skills from Dragon Sensei well, if the rumors from Metropolis are true. With that she bowed to him. After all the training he endured with this woman he could only show respect for her, and bowed back, smiling. Nice to see you again. But what brings you to jump? It can't be for X, can it? He's not made a move in a while. Hinata shook her head and sighed. It may be him I am worried about, but it's not he who makes me worry. The same style of stealth, productive items for my world, I think the three who went underground have come back. The team behind them were quite confused what was going on. Beast Boy spoke up, shaking wildly to get the stupor out of his current look. Whoa, dude, you know this chick. Nightwing turned to his team, all looked like they were ready for a fight a moment ago. Nightwing had responded to the break-in, but thinking on it, he knew what was going on now. Smiling he turned to his team. Sorry. Yeah, this is Hinata. She's a fellow disciple. When I was out looking to be trained, I found someone who was named, the true master. Turns out they weren't. Seeing my potential, and the skill I had as a fighter, she had shown me the way to the real master, the greatest of all. Someone who even taught my former partner. That took them by surprise. Even though they didn't enjoy what Batman did, they had to respect his presence, and what he represented. Well, all but Starfire. Why would you want to be trained by someone who taught the one who tossed you aside? Nightwing turned to her. Because he's good. He's the greatest master of the arts in the world, and he's supportive of all ideals. He only takes in students who will use his skills to bring peace to the world. Batman is fighting criminals and psychopaths, and I want to stop criminals and evildoers as well. Hinata stepped up to this. I was already there for a while, learning much of his teachings. Nightwing came along half a year ago, asking to be trained. He had to prove himself. He was lost down a path of power, and Dragon Sensei had helped him see the right path. After that, we became training partners. But the past can wait. Looking to her, Nightwing nodded. He came down to his team. Believe me, you do not want to fight her. If she went all out, I doubt I could. If she is here to help us take on the three who got away during my leave, then it's time to send them back. Smiling kindly, Hinata spoke up. You'd be strong enough, Nightwing, if you had completed your training. Raven looked to her, though ignoring that last comment. One of them wanted to go back anyway. Why would they have changed their minds? And what of you? Wouldn't you like to return? Hinata looked down a bit, crossing her arms. There is much to my old world that I would like to return to. Given the chance, I may. But I have things to do here before I go. If I am to return, it will only be when the one I love is safe from danger. The team stopped their readiness to fight and Starfire looked taken back. Flying up to her, she was curious. Who is this one you love? Hinata looked to Nightwing, talking to him. You've met him on multiple occasions. Didn't you? I seen how you fight. You have learned from him. Blonde hair. Blue eyes. My Naruto-kun. Cyborg knew that guy, he wouldn't forget him. The same guy who told us about X and the guys we sent back. Speaking of, where is he anyway? Hinata gave a sly smile. Oh, he's closer than you think. But that is not for me to say. Wherever he is, I just want him to live and be happy, to finally find love. For the three who failed to return have crushed his heart, and may look to do that again. Whatever reason Ino may have wanted out for, I believe Sakura, the pink-haired one, would more than likely have pushed her into going. What shocks me more, though, is her not taking Sasuke. Raven knew each member and knew what she was talking about. Ino was the one who so desperately wanted back. If she was pressured into this, maybe there was a weak link in the group she could exploit if they catch them. I think the Ino in the group would be someone to talk to. Maybe I can help break them up, get them back without trouble. Donna had another idea though. We should figure this out, plan, because whatever made them leave, it has them ready for whatever we throw at them. Maybe you can help us understand what they took, and why. Hinata smiled at Donna and bowed. As long as you will have me, I will do what I can to help. Until my mission is complete, I would rather not go back yet. Getting an agreement from some of them, she smiled to the group. I am happy to be of service. XXX Secret Hideout Underground XXX. Will this even work? I feel horrible doing this thief thing. You. A blonde with pigtails said as she sewn up some cloth. Next to her was another blonde, this one with a long ponytail. Same. But if Naruto could do it, we can. Sakura said this was the only way for us to talk to Naruto, to emulate him. Sorry if she had to bring you in on this, Temari. Temari sighed and stopped. Looking to her partner, she smiled sadly. You aren't the only one who wanted to say sorry, Ino. I know we should have just left, I know you'd have rather done so. It took Sakura a good bit of explaining for you to agree. I should have told her I would be just fine for the group. But we are here now, and Sakura's plan isn't that horrible. Ino looked down, stopping her own sewing. Sometimes I wonder, she's been so unstable. Between being Sasuke's toy, to being someone to say sorry, I don't know what to think anymore. This whole year has been nothing but pain, she's been between unholy rage and overwhelming grief. I wonder if we can ever do this. She needs psychological treatment, and I've been completely shut of ever since the memory wipe I gave Naruto. After a few more minutes, Temari sighed, fighting back the tears. What are we doing, Ino? We came here as a group to bring back Naruto, who had abandoned us. But what were we really doing? After everything, the final straw that broke his heart, the final rejection that broke his will, and the final betrayal that broke his mind. Everything finally came closing in on him, and all we were doing was going against his wishes of being left alone. The power he wields, we can't face that. We can't get him back. And even if we apologize, we don't belong here. Ino was already crying, but she started working again. I gave up my chance of a peaceful life back in our dimension, gave up going back with the rest, so that I could do one thing and one thing only. Apologize, and beg forgiveness. I've come this far, and if I learned anything with Naruto, it's to never give up on your beliefs. And I believe to finally be free, to be happy, I need to be forgiven. What I did was unforgivable, but that doesn't matter. I learned my mistake, and I want him to know I am sorry. So here I am, following the crazy plan Sakura has, all for that reason. Temari looked surprised at Ino, seeing her suddenly confident, strong. She hasn't seen her like that in a very long time. But what about Sakura? What will she do? Ino shook her head, finishing her first project. No idea. She's as likely to beg him for forgiveness as she is fight him until he's no more, which won't happen. It doesn't matter. We're here, we have a plan. We can go back when we repent. Right. Temari heard the doubt in Ino's voice and smiled sadly, but nodded. She believed it could be done. Repenting is good. Maybe I will do the same. Whatever happens, whatever we do with Sakura, all I care about is being forgiven. Then, I'll go straight to Titan Tower and beg to be sent back. Smiling at that, Ino held up the project. It was a purple cloak, with small flower designs in them. The back had flowers on them, 2 full blooms in the shape of an X. Think this will get his attention. Temari chuckled, looking at it and then to her own. It was black, but had her own fan on the back, one upside down and another right side up, and the 3 dots on each. They were put in a way to make an X as well. I do. But hopefully not the bad kind. I'd rather now have him hate us for copying the X. But that is what we are. His exes. Getting back to work, Ino started making the next project. She stopped when she thought of something. I wonder what Sakura's would be. In another room, Sakura was holding said cloak. It was a dark red, with the back as a single flower, and a big X from shoulders to bottom trim. She looked at it and was having an internal debate with herself. One part of her wanted to explain, try and get Naruto to come back, maybe make it work with him, something and anything to fix this. Another wanted to hurt him horribly, to see him suffer, and end him for his misdeeds. But the one thing that always won out was she needed to talk to him, say something. She just didn't know if it was a sorry, or a threat. She had been this way ever since Sasuke came back. She was happy with Naruto. Sure, she wasn't letting him get close, but she was finally opening up. Naruto may have seen her as tossing him aside or being harsh, and part of her agreed. But she was finally opening up. Finally going to let him in. Then Sasuke shown up, and everything just went to shit. Part of her was suspicious if Sasuke did something to her, but another part argued against it with a passion. She had to do something, but she didn't know what. If Sasuke was here, he'd have an idea. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. All he's given us was trouble. If he hadn't had us so against Naruto, we'd probably be in Konoha right now and having a picnic with Ino. And what if he hates Naruto? It's for a damn good reason. Groaning and holding her head, Sakura just shook herself from thought. I need some fresh air. I can't think in this dank cave. With that, she hopped off the bed and went to go and do something. Maybe I'll give searching one more try. XXX Pandora Hideout XXX. Naruto was waiting for the impending doom to be wrought upon his head. After Jinx told him never to speak to her again until she was ready, he had waited patiently. Finally, she calmed down enough to talk to him, and wanted answers to some of her questions. Gladly, he answered, and gave her every bit of information, even his willingness at the time, even after his whole ordeal made him unfit for thought. And that's when she was frozen in front of him, a blank look on her face, as if she had become a literal statue, with no feeling whatsoever. Naruto was trying to figure out what way he would be dying. Knife. Frying pan. Overload of her powers to bring all the base in on itself and kill them all in a blaze of rage. As he continued to count down the ways to die, he wondered if there was a way to go back in time, fix this little mishap. Jinx stood up from her seat and stared at Naruto, who was sitting still. They were currently in the training room, where he had been when Jinx came in. He gulped seeing her walk up to him. Well, at least I laid it all out to her. No regrets except the fact it happened. Jinx put her hands on her hips and bent forward, smiling. Wait, smiling. So, you really want to make it up to me then? Regardless of your promise, you'll tell her to wait. You would even. How did Gizmo put it? Make amends and give even more, to me. Well, that's an inciting thought. But I think I would rather know more about you, and be a part of your heart, instead of your bedroom experiences. Standing up and offering a hand, she smiled happily and stared with a look full of love. How about a night on the town, just the two of us, and letting who we are, not just some persona we carry, come out into the open? Give me my chance, Naruto. That shocked him for a good minute. But seeing her giving him a second chance, he smiled and stood up, taking her hand and holding it when she helped him up. Nodding, he sighed. Giving me a second chance, it's only fair to give you your chance. Jinx smiled more and grabbed his collar of his shirt and pulled him down, kissing him deeply. Naruto would have been shocked about this, but considering everything they've done so far, kissing and hugging and teasing and more, he just smiled into the kiss and gave one back. Jinx sighed when they broke apart and held him close, nuzzling him. When he held her close to his chest, she relaxed into it. Let's keep a low profile. After everything we've been through the past year or so, it's time to calm down and relax. Enjoy our possessions. Besides, I think Mammoth and Gizmo would enjoy playing some of the games with you again. Naruto chuckled and smiled, looking down to Jinx. True. I guess it's time for a break. It's not like we're slacking off in our training. After the two of them felt the need to move or get cramps from standing in one place too long, he waked Jinx out of the training room. So, first date this weekend. I'll pick a good place. Jinx sighed and held his arm, happily walking with him. Sounds good. I'd go for a burger joint as long as we got to hang out without having to fight the Titans. Then a thought crossed her mind. Maybe it's time I change my look. Because if I go out like I normally do, the Titans are sure to notice. Especially the police. With that on the back burner, she just enjoyed Naruto's company. Jinx was smiling brightly, way more so than usual. She couldn't be happier with herself. She had changed her hairdo from the wild horns to a loose style, down to below her neck and the normal tips still there, just curved outward, flayed and free. She let her bangs stay, but had a hairband keep her hair from spoofing up. She had stolen a dress a while back for this occasion, and was wearing it, a purple sari that was held up by a single shoulder wrap, a golden waist strap and accents. All in all, she thought she was beautiful, enough so to shock even Naruto. Though what she was worried about most of all wasn't her looks to Naruto, but her looks to those around her. Sure, she was good looking, but she was still Jinx, with pink hair and pale skin, the same slit pink eyes as normal. Was this really a good idea? She asked her adoptive father to help her get a place to be on this date, someplace a little out of the way and was still quite nice, maybe with some Japanese food. But she wondered if her appearance would be rather conflicting to some of the patrons there. As she started to get nervous with doubt and walked to the living area of the base, she was greeted by Naruto, who was wearing his sage jacket they first met in, when he took them all out in that one restaurant back when the headmaster asked him to join the hive. But under it was a very nice blue dress shirt and pants. He did look rather fetching, which was making her blush. He got all dressed up for her. Smiling, Naruto came up to her. You look beautiful. I think I like your hair better when it's up, but it's still beautiful. That made Jinx blush even more, but she smiled. He liked her just the way she was before, but he was showing it in his own way. Well, you look like you're ready. I didn't expect you to be fancy, but it works, even with this bold coat of yours. Chuckling nervously, Naruto scratched the back of his herd. Well, I didn't feel very comfortable looking like a monkey in a suit, so I figured I'd dress down a bit and make a statement. I'm just glad it came out looking good, or I'd feel bad making this date go wrong because I'm underdressed. With the compliments out of the way, they were interrupted by Gizmo, who flew up to them and gave them each some cash. Here, I had to sell some of the junk we had lying around to get some, but here's the cash to buy things. I know we're thieves, but it wouldn't be good to steal on this date of yours. Pocketing the money, Naruto rolled his eyes. Thanks, Dad, we appreciate the advice. Gizmo gave the back of his head a smack. You were the one to ask for some pending cash, you blonde jackass. Besides, I'm just trying to help. Jinx gave the flying guy a hug though. Thanks, Gizmo. Keep the base safe for us, okay? With that, the two went out of the base and started off into town, walking the back streets to their destination. As they walked, though, Jinx continued to doubt. Naruto could practically feel her fidget here and there. What's wrong? Smiling nervously, Jinx just smiled as best she could. Nothing, just thinking about how wonderful tonight is going to be. Though did she really expect to keep anything from Naruto? He was usually able to see right through her, and this time was no different. Come on, what's making you nervous? Are you worried about messing up? Because you don't have to. No matter what happens, you won't make me think any less of you. That was one thing on her mind, it wasn't the forefront. Sighing, Jinx stared at the ground. Well, you know our reputation. We're thieves, and we're classified as criminals, remember? I'm not exactly inconspicuous, with my hair and skin tone. My eyes are pretty unique as well. What if I'm recognized and someone calls the police, and it ruins our date? Sure enough, that was something to worry about, however Naruto wasn't having it. You're right, that is a risk. But I refuse to let that stop us from having a good time. With a smile, he stopped them and made Jinx look at him. If all else fails, I'll just have to put up a genjutsu. You know, an illusion. To everyone else you'll look like a normal girl, but to me, you'll still be the same unique beauty. Her blush was only growing at that, but it did make Jinx feel better knowing Naruto cared enough to risk it either way. Nodding, she held his arm and smiled. Thank you. Though one more thing to worry about was coming up again. It was like her mind was finding several reasons to not go, when before she was too excited to even contain herself and wanted to go right away. As they started near the restaurant, they were about to head to the main street when they turned into an alley and found a man standing there. With a flame lighting his cigarette, he came up to the two. Naruto was prepared to fight the man, when Jinx recognized the man. Hey, Jack. Though Naruto knew this man by a different name. I thought he was Marley. The man interrupted them though. Marley to you until you earn my trust, got that, Blondie? The man sounded pretty aggressive, he wasn't expecting this. Hey, we don't want any trouble, we're just going to a restaurant for a date. With a big breath of smoke, Marley got up near Naruto's face. I know, that's why I'm giving you a warning. You hurt her, I don't care if you can take out Superman, the next time you see me will be the split second before your brains spill on the ground from my sniper. Silenced, expendable, untraceable, got it. Oh, Naruto knew that speech anywhere, he got it from Gaara with Temari, from Inochi with Ino, and Tsunade with Sakura. This man was obviously someone either related or close to Jinx. Understood. But what should I call you, her dad? Seeing the young man not even flinch, Marley was impressed, but stayed cool and stepped aside. Biologically, no, but I raised her regardless. Get going, I made sure the place would forego who Jinx is. Smiling, after heaving a silent, but large, sigh of relief, she looked to her surrogate father. Thanks, Pops. You're the best. Naruto could see the hint of a smile and a softer look pull through the rather tough and gruff one he was trying to keep for Naruto's sake, but spoke up to his daughter. Have a good time, kiddo. Remember what I said. Before they started walking again, Naruto looked back at the man. You won't scare me off, Marley. I care about Jinx too much to let you do that. So bring your rifle if you must, but I refuse to hurt Jinx. I always keep my word, believe that, Jack. Exit stage forward as it were, the two leaving the military man behind to digest that. With a scoff and stepping his cigarette out on the ground, he blew the last of the smoke from his lungs. Punk-ass kid. I can see why she likes him so damn much. XXX several blocks out XXX. Stupid Naruto. Stupid Sasuke. No, Naruto. With a thwack, the pink-haired Kunoichi groaned and went into another alley, getting away from people. What am I doing? I'm just tossing my plans away just because I can't think straight. Damn it. Having run through several scenarios, the pink-haired Kunoichi was tearing her hair out from the insanity playing through her skull. One side wanted to plead for Naruto to come back, forgive her, give her one last chance, another fought just as hard for beating him up and trying to tear him limb from limb until he knows his place and bring him back as an example. Both sides were tearing her apart, she just couldn't figure out what to do, how she was going to go about seeing Naruto. Not only that, But her two comrades were getting impatient, wanting to go out and do this thing. In truth, she wanted to get to him first, she just felt they were going to ruin whatever chance she had at something. Sighing, she just got back on the street and walked, fuming in despair as she tried to collect her thoughts, only for the war to continue. XXX at the restaurant XXX. Sitting down, Jinx blushed as she had Naruto seat her. They were at a very good table with a view. This is quite nice. Smiling, Naruto picked up the menu. It is. So let's enjoy ourselves and get something good to eat to make this a good date out. You're old enough for wine, I assume. With a playful grin, Jinx just tapped his leg under the table. You know it. I'm just recently 21, thank you for remembering. After everything they had been through, it was a wonder they were still pretty young, though not that young now. Ordering some food, Jinx smiled, looking at Naruto. Thank you for giving me this chance. I know it's probably hard to trust again, after what happened and all. Nodding, Naruto sighed. You do deserve to know, not just as a potential lover, but also as a friend. You know the intricate parts of my relationship stuff, but it wasn't all that. After memory wipes, after secrets being kept, after all that, I was just a weapon. The village forgot why I existed, it wasn't to be their pet but to be their guardian, not under their control, but in control of the power I had. Trust is hard to give, but loneliness was all I knew, so I was caught between two worlds. I tried to hide in plain sight. They really knew a lot about each other, but one thing that always tripped up Jinx was she never really told him more about herself. Well, you know my story, but maybe not everything. I was in an orphanage. When I was old enough to wonder about my parents, I found they were dead. Sometime that year I was adopted, angry and wanting nothing to do but fester. My entire life I thought I was nothing but a freak. Jack adopted me with Kanan, and they tried to raise me. Sure enough, I just went through life normally, until the hive saw my potential. I figured if life was going to throw me away, I might as well throw everyone's life away. Jack never approved. I was always welcome, but he would always capture me, he's into the rules like that. So I tried to just use my powers, I have them for a reason after all. Now I met you and we've been friends for a long time, and nothing ever fazed you, you are the only one my powers cannot affect, at least not very much. I threw everything I could at you because I was afraid. When I was 15 I had almost killed a couple potential boyfriends because of my powers going out of control. So I felt I would never find love. Then you came and I found I couldn't lose you to my powers, and you were much better than any other potential lover of mine. Smarter, kinder, but also stricter, wouldn't let me away with anything, but let me do what I wanted to be happy. Looking her way, Naruto wanted to ask. He was much happier with those who cared for him, he had things he enjoyed, a way to keep healthy, fun things to do that he could never hope to feel with training alone, he finally had things to cherish, to maybe pass on to his children if he ever had any. He was happy he chose to become a thief, to take his life back. But Jinx apparently wanted more than a life back. Are you happy being with Pandora, with me? Just taking a life back, not taking away others. Smiling brightly, Jinx nodded eagerly with approval. I mean, I did hate the world for my life being in shambles, my powers are still not totally in control. I still cause some bad luck, and whatever is wrong in my life can never be fixed in the past. But instead of being alone because of my powers, I can be myself, sit down and have fun with friends, and not have to worry about what I don't have or how I can get something I like. It's refreshing to have my life completely in my control, powers be damned. That was a refreshing outlook. He was actually glad she felt that way, because it reminded him of himself in a way. The Kyuubi being the power he had no control over, though she had a literal negative effect whilst all he had was bad things happening to him from idiots. Their night was going very well, it was almost unbelievably perfect in Jinx's mind, but as with all good things, it had to end. Sadly, it wasn't on good terms. As the door to the restaurant opened, several patrons of the place ducking for cover, two being knocked out by the flying doors that were burst from their hinges. Standing up and coming into the main floor area inside, Jinx and Naruto looked to see the one responsible for breaking in. And both looked in shock at the pink-haired strong arm that was huffing in anger in the doorway, glaring daggers and hot hellfire their way. Frowning and glaring right back, Naruto could only say her name in a venomous fashion. Sakura. The psychotic Kunoichi snarled as she started walking her way forward towards them. You pig, bastard, asshole, subhuman piece of shit. I look for you day in and day out, maybe try and bring you back without having to destroy you, but here I am seeing you having a nice dinner at a nice place in nice clothes with my fucking look-alike, and you're having a good time. The fuck, you never treated me this good. Without his mask on, everyone could see as his eyes changed, one to the Sharingan and the other to the Rinnegan, and he pulled Jinx behind him. I knew you would never see how much I cared. Several dates at the highest-rated romantic restaurant in Konoha, pulled strings no one else could think of, even snuck bribes, just to give you the best nights of your life, only for you to break my arm, cut my face, and destroy the place the last time, all because you thought I was some pervert. If a place so desired, you had told me you always wanted to go to, is not treating you right, then you're even more idiotic than I thought. You do know me and you have been through for almost a decade now, and here you are trying to ruin a date with someone who truly appreciated me. If you wanted a thrashing for your incompetence, then you should have waited till tomorrow, I was free then. Steam was practically vaporizing the air around Sakura's head as she snarled and clenched her hands so hard her knuckles were almost blindingly white. Oh, sorry to ruin something good in your life, because it's so hard to see you've ruined everything for me. Fine. You want to go back in a box then so be it. I can fucking kill you. I've had training to know every vital organ's kill spot, all I need to is get close, and you've always been the brawler. Fucking die. Jumping forward, Sakura's hands glowed bright green as she attempted to end this. Naruto was about to fight her when Jinx shot jolts of energy into the ceiling, causing it to collapse on Sakura, and piling on her. Looking to Naruto, Jinx huffed. You know, I can see why you were so distant from me back then. Looking as much like her as I do, and her being this much of a bitch, I'm surprised you didn't run away from me or worse. Though the ordeal was yet to finish, as the rubble shook until Sakura burst from it, glaring at Jinx. Oh, you are so dead, you trying to protect this low-life asshole. He's just going to ruin your life too, just like he did mine. Glaring back, Jinx blew her hair from her face. All he's ever done was make my life better, and make me happy. And seeing how you act against him I'm surprised he even let me take him out tonight, and here you are trying to ruin my date I've wanted with him for a while now just because you were a vindicated bitch. That didn't deter Sakura. Fine, you can die with him like the harlot you are, skank. Rushing again, Sakura aimed for Jinx this time. Seeing Naruto try to intervene she slammed her fist into the ground, causing a rift in the earth itself to sprout up and cut them in half. Oh no, you're gonna watch as I take out this bitch. Hearing that, Jinx got ready. Let me, Naruto, this is personal. Ruining her date with Naruto, hurting Naruto as she did, and causing such strife, not to mention the news she heard of this look-alike being a harlot Sakura was claiming she herself was, the bad luck thief wanted nothing more than to pound Sakura into the ground with her own two hands. She was silently thanking Naruto, as well as Jack, for helping her get stronger as a fighter. Dodging the fist coming her way, Jinx easily saw the blow coming. Apparently her pink-haired look-alike was so angry she was broadcasting her moves. Ducking under the kick, Jinx, in her dress, kicked out Sakura's leg, causing her to catch herself and clench her legs shut. This caused Jinx the opening to raise her leg up and kick the kunoichi in the head, making her fall back. Getting up, Sakura grabbed a chair and threw it at Jinx, who used her power to break the chair and make the seat fly into the air, the backrest fly past her. Seeing Sakura throw another punch, the unlucky mistress dodged it to the side, grabbing Sakura's arm and slamming her palm into the kunoichi's back, making her trip up with her balance and center of gravity. Seeing this as a great position, the thief snapped up with a knee strike to Sakura's stomach before sending a powerful palm into the woman's back, slamming her into the ground. With a fierce kick, Jinx pushed and flipped Sakura away. The blonde-haired middle man of the two in front of him could only smile, seeing Jinx use her tactical advantage and calm attitude to send Sakura a message. In a way, this just showed him just how different the two were. Jinx kept her head, even when angry, and went for taking out her opponent, whilst Sakura just went to smash things and lost all tact in combat when she became mad, more akin to losing her mind with her temper than keeping it as a driving force behind her strikes. He watched Sakura get up and try again. This was fruitless, with Jinx sending her to the ground again, tossing her over her shoulder before kicking the elbow in, breaking the arm. As the kunoichi cried out, she was smashed in the face by a heel, breaking her nose. As she pushed herself away, she could only watch as Jinx grabbed her hair. That was for ruining my date. This is for hurting Naruto, you fucking evil bitch. Using all her strength, Jinx lifted Sakura up off the ground and slammed a fist into her jaw, taking a tooth or two and making her flip backwards a few times before falling flat on the ground. This truly knocked her out, and Jinx huffed, looking at the kunoichi who hurt her Naruto so badly. Jack's got a cell all ready for you. I'm sure after last time you visited they had cells built. They always do for us powered folk if we ever cause havoc. Coming in through the door was none other than Jack himself, rifle in hand. As he pointed it towards the three only left in the place, he sighed. Well, this is a twist. Coming up, he noticed Jinx hugging Naruto. He listened as his adoptive daughter proclaimed her love. Taking a deep breath, Jinx smiled. Well, she may have been a bitch, and came here to hurt us, but thank you for letting me take care of her. No one ruins our time, and besides I wanted to take her down for all the horrible things she's done to you. Smiling at that, and noticing Jack, Naruto just ignored the officer. Well, you took care of yourself. Where were some of those moves though? I didn't teach you that throwing move. Coming back from her hug, the pale-skinned thief smiled and kissed his cheek. Jack taught me a few moves when I was younger. As I started doing a few crimes he stopped teaching me, but I kept some of those skills. They both heard the devil speak as he called the police. Yeah, bring a medical cruiser, one knocked out villain. Over and out. Coming to the duo, he looked to Naruto. I suppose I can forgive this incident. This girl was after you in the station that one day, wasn't she? Nodding, Naruto held Jinx close. I can only assume, but yeah, she was after me now at least. I was going to take her down, but Jinx here wanted the shot. Sorry this had to go down like this, but thanks for not calling in for us. Grabbing his cigarette, the officer lit it up. Just take my girl out of here and back home. After this excitement I think some rest is a welcome addition to the night. Seeing the blonde nod and start going, he blew the smoke from his lungs. Oh, and Blondie, come over for dinner at our house at one point. Kanan's all about the normal life, she'll want to meet the man her daughter likes. Think it over. With that he grabbed Sakura and started cuffing the girl. Seeing this, the dating duo walked off, heading back to the base. Well, seems I'll be getting to know the whole family. Think Shigo will be ribbing you. I remember a few friends of mine, when they were still friends, ribbing me for Sakura and Ino a few times. Shoji for sure was giving me a hard time about having someone to be with. He wasn't really my brother, but me and him acted like it. Shrugging, Jinx only leaned into Naruto, smiling. Whether she does or not, I am just glad to be here in your arms. With a smirk, she looked up to the blonde. Oh, and I fully expect a kiss goodnight. Rolling his eyes, the master thief nodded, agreeing. Halfway back, the duo heard a large explosion, and looked in the distance as smoke was rising. The Titans have their work cut out for them. I swear, they get hit more than Batman or Superman, I think. Though that was the time Kyuubi finally decided to talk to him, and it wasn't good news. Kit, get your ass over there. I know that energy, that is not a normal fire, that is not some flame villain. That's demonic, that's a hell beast using power I can only imagine as the same demon who targeted this place way back. Frowning at that, the blonde was not about to run with just that information. Wait, remind me again, what demon? And why is this so important? I need to get there when the Titans can easily step to the challenge. The reminder was simple, as it was nearly the same thing Kyuubi said at the beginning when they first came here. Trigon, the dimensional demonic beast who rivals me in power. He's strong, and his power can freeze mortals to stone. In an instant this whole world can suddenly snap into rubble. If there's a beast here he sent, then it's almost time for him to arrive. I can negate his power for you only, but if you want to save your precious girlfriend here you're going to need to be proactive, and start fighting his return. If we're lucky we may be able to stop it. Sighing, Naruto stopped him and Jinx. She looked at his expression, and it wasn't good. What's wrong? Looking to her, Naruto could only apologize. Sorry, you know what's inside me, right? I told you about the Kyuubi. One of the few things she didn't know much on, but with everything else she's seen it wasn't exactly hard to swallow. Yeah, what about the fur ball? That made the blonde chuckle. Sighing, however, he continued. He's told me a lot about this world. One thing was about another demon, one that is trying to come here and turn this world to rubble or something. Apparently whatever that smoke is from that demon. Kyuubi said if I want to stop it, I should try and actively search and destroy any signs of this guy's attempts to transfer over. That means at the moment, I've got a mission. Pouting, Jinx huffed, but she understood. As much as he wasn't a hero, he sure as hell made sure to show he wouldn't tolerate anyone destroying where he lives or who he cares about. If this was something he had to do to protect her, which he wants to do because he cares so much about her, she would let him. Fine. But you owe me. Before she could do anything, Naruto turned her head and kissed her right on the lips. The shock wore off and she wrapped her arms around him, deepening the kiss, the two sharing a tender loving moment before breaking it. Smiling, Naruto nodded. Just name the place and time, I'll make it up to you. And thank you for understanding. It's still raw, and probably not the same amount as you have for me, but I do love you, Jinx. Now get going and tell Gizmo I'll be running late. With that, he ran off, grabbing his scroll he had for emergencies and jumped into the air, rushing off. Jinx sighed, but smiled as she touched her lips. It's a start. A very good start. XXX halfway across town, Industrial District XXX. With a bellow of fire flying through the mechanical building, Donna could only hold her shield up in defense as the others scattered. As the metal began to heat up, she could only handle so much. Someone fucking stop this guy. The Titans had come to the reported intruder alert, only to find one man with the power over fire, and the greatest of their enemies, or at least the greatest the main members had back before Kitsune X came into the picture. Having to stop due to Kid Flash tackling into him, the man with the black Kevlar suit grabbed the speedster and tossed him to the side. The villain soon had to dodge out of the way as Superboy dropped with a massive pipe, trying to flatten him, only to grind the pipe into the floor and fall to the ground floor. As the team collected themselves, Nightwing was snarling, almost seething at the sight before him. How are you alive? We watched you die. Stepping from the shadows of the wrecked walkway, the man came into view, his mask half black and half orange, one eye visible. My, how perceptive. But you'll find that the world isn't fair. You've grown, not just as a fighter, but also as a leader, you've even gotten a few new members. That's quite the achievement, if I do say so myself. Hinata was having a hard time looking at this man, her hands shaking. She knew it was not the man she thought it was, but the resemblance was uncanny. A single eye, the orange mask, the black suit, it all spoke to her of the one man who generated a war from nothing. To make it worse, he shared his affinity for fire. Who is this man? Though Hinata was the one to ask, Donna was nursing her arm from the heated metal. What she said, you guys know this flaming lunatic. Quickly, the answer came from Starfire, whose hands and eyes glowed green. He is called Slade, and he was a force to reckon with when we were still a small cell of titans. He once injected us with robotic organisms that could kill us with the flip of a switch, all to turn Nightwing into his student. He turned one we called friend against us, and almost destroyed us in Jump City. He's a vile man. Slade started to clap. My, you remember me so well. I'm sorry, but I can only imagine how disappointed you all are, seeing me here. I just want to make this quick, as I lured you all here for a purpose, after all. Turning into his human form, Beast Boy barked at him. Yeah, and was that purpose to get your ass handed to you again? 'Cause you'll find us a lot stronger than you remember, bozo. Just before the conversation could continue, Slade suddenly turned around and shot flame, only to confuse the lot of the titans. As he turned back, he hummed, his eye narrowing. Pretty sneaky, I almost didn't notice you. So, who's this new member you have? Coming from above, having jumped out of the way of the fire, landed a cloaked figure, a coat of orange with black flame trimming it, the kanji for betrayed, and bright blonde hair spiked up. Slamming his fist in his hand, Naruto glared at Slade. Just someone who doesn't take kindly to your kind. Hinata was shocked, but smiled. Naruto, you're here. Turning to the pale-eyed woman, Naruto was surprised to see Hinata, but more so to see her without her coat, but rather a GI with a different emblem. Hinata, last he saw her, she just walked off during the ice villain escapade. If he remembered correctly, she had said she wanted to make amends, to be with him somehow. Of course, he would never do so. We can talk later, we got problems at the moment. Turning back to Slade, he noticed the man walking into view. As if he was such a badass, walking into the limelight, he just had his arms behind his back. So, who would this be? Naruto glared his way, his Sharingan and Rinnegan coming to life. My name is none of your concern. All you need to know is I'm going to pound you. In fact, I'm going to break a few of your bones, maybe even send you back to the depths from whence you came. Too bad your daughter will have to go without her dad again. That had everyone listening to him. Looking his way, Nightwing whispered to Naruto. Daughter, this guy has kids. Without taking his eyes off the shocked Slade, he nodded. Ravager came to see me, wanted to prove she could take out the Titans, and she fought well. But what I don't get is why someone so skilled and strong, someone who could cut me in combat with her swords, would look up to a douchebag of a father like yourself, Slade. Slade glared at the blonde, and his hands suddenly burst into flames, balls of fire generating in his palms. Well, isn't that a surprise? No matter. I came here for a reason, and lured the Titans for a purpose. If that purpose is to be delayed by several combatants, then so be it. I welcome the challenge. Connecting his Eskrima into a whole staff, Nightwing launched himself forward. Titans, go. With that, he and the Titans all sprang into action. Trinity Alpha, strike hard. And with that, he launched into the air, Starfire grabbing his staff and flipping down, throwing Nightwing at Slade as Cyborg fired his sonic cannon, Kid Flash racing alongside it as fast as he could to create a larger pressure for the beam to use. The beam soon hit the large blast of fire Slade created to oppose the beam, but it was soon stopped as Nightwing slammed into him with the taser end of the staff, causing him to fly back into the wall. Kid Flash slammed into him with a fierce kick, pinning Slade to the wall long enough for Raven to pin him with the metal bits around the area, steel reinforcements and beams trapping Slade to the wall. As Kid Flash stepped back, the combined forces of the Titans and the ninja with them could only look and get ready, seeing Slade melt the metal and slip from his binds, fire fully encompassing his body. That wasn't bad, but you'll find I'm not so easy to pin down. Here, have a taste. And with that, he let loose a torrent of fire all around, blowing the facility up around him as torrents of fire and explosive force took out walls and machinery, bending the very floor into rubble. The only thing anyone could say was Nightwing pushing Starfire back. Run. As the building started to collapse around them, the team could only attempt an escape. Sadly, the only thing anyone heard as Starfire was thrown away from Nightwing, he himself falling into the molten abyss, was a loud scream, and then the world itself froze upon the voice's command. Time stood still, Titans fighting to run from an explosive attack from Slade. All from one word, spoken by the Dark Witch herself. Stop. The echo as time stopped caused Raven to look around in surprise. She had called upon all her power to try and stop this, her friends from falling to their deaths, and the attack caused by Slade. She hadn't realized she had the power to stop time as it existed. Hurrying, she helped her friends to safer spaces, Nightwing and Starfire near the door, Kid Flash was alright, and Cyborg needed a hand jumping the gap. Finally she turned to Superboy, who she felt something from, something pushing her power away. As soon as she touched him, his body animated, and for him time continued, but nothing else. Go. But instead of running, he was hanging from Raven's hold, and he looked up to see her surprise. Raven, let's get going. Nightwing. He looked and found Nightwing was not where he once was, but by the door, and as he looked around he found everyone was changed, but also stopped. Even Slade, even the fire and explosions around them. Wait, what's going on? That's obvious, don't you think? The two looked above them to find Naruto sitting on a falling concrete block, frozen in time. Seriously, you got some power there, gonna be okay. Raven was in even more shock now, her power had no hold on Naruto. Then she felt it, the power from Kitsune X, radiating of him. You're a demon. Smiling, the blonde chuckled. Wrong. I hold a demon. I'm what you might call a human prison, holding back the full power of a demon from destroying all. You know how that is, right? Walking on thin air, he stepped to Raven and Superboy. Listen, I know more about this than even your teammates. I suggest you stop keeping them in the dark. And maybe run. He looked past them, causing them to look at Slade, who walked out of his frozen fire, and glared their way. This is interesting. And very surprising. Well, birthday girl, you're sure growing in strength. That's good, you'll need it. Popping his knuckles, Naruto passed the two. Run, now, I'll keep him at bay. Popping his neck a bit, Naruto sighed. You know, Trigon's just using you. What kind of deal did he even give for you to want to be his puppet? Slade walked up towards the blonde as he levitated to the ground. It's more a mutual agreement. I help set him free, I get my life back. Simple as that. Producing more fire from his hands, he smiled. The perks aren't too bad either, though what surprises me most is you. How do you know of Trigon, and able to pull yourself from this time warp Raven created? Pulling out a kunai and letting his eyes change from blue to the dual eyes he obtained from his world, the Sharingan and Rinnegan, he spun the kunai on his pinky. Easy. In fact, you can give your master this message when you return to him. Kyuubi sends his regards, that you will not destroy this world whilst I live in it. From the fur ball himself. Your daughter managed to cut me, I wonder how well you do. Tossing the kunai, Naruto vanished from sight. With a single wide eye, Slade was surprised, but quickly reacted by burning the metal to liquid and then ducking the roundhouse to the back of the head. Pushing up from his crouched position, he rose a leg up in a sweeping uppercut kick, only for Naruto to flip back away from him and send 5 shuriken his way. Flipping himself, somersaulting as to dodge the shuriken coming for him, Slade landed before grabbing one and throwing it back. Naruto caught it with his thumb and flipped it behind him, catching it and twirling it in his finger. Not bad, but you're going to have to do better than that. As the two fought, Raven was getting a measurable distance from them, and telling Superboy everything. Naruto knew he wasn't going to be able to stand up to Slade forever. Kyuubi only granted him enough power to sustain movement in this warp for a few minutes. As powerful as his power was, this was a domain controlled by Trigon's power, through Raven's, and not at all like Tsukuyomi. Deciding not to hesitate, Naruto generated a large gust of wind that knocked Slade off his feet and into the gears behind him. Rushing in as his gust processed, a Rasengan formed in his palm and was thrust straight for Slade's chest. Though as he got close, the dark puppet of Trigon burst into a large ball of flame that engulfed the area, causing Naruto to engulf it back with Amaterasu, a black fire that swallowed the demonic flames of Trigon. As the flames receded, Slade was upon the blonde in a second, and grabbed the white coat. With a fiery fist, the coat melted, causing Naruto to quickly get out of there. With 2 more Rasengans, he forced Slade into letting go and then launching the demonic puppet into the wall once more. Though this caused his powers to slowly lift, and he was starting to see time return. Looking at Slade with a glare, Naruto stood tall. Be sure your boss gets that message, and know that as long as Trigon controls you, you're not going to be free. He revived you, he can kill you again. And with that, time resumed, and Slade was gone. Turning quickly, Naruto helped the Titans out, using clones he quickly conjured, and as the team got out and they started to relax, the blonde sighed heavily. He turned up the heat, now didn't he? Though none answered, as they noticed Superboy carrying Raven. Looking at this, Naruto noticed the several glyphs on Raven's body, her clothes burned off at key points. Glaring a bit, the blonde scoffed. I should have put his ass down, but even I didn't have that kind of power. Not yet. Kyuubi could only laugh a little at his partner's antics. You really think you didn't? If you had pulled on every ounce of power I could give you, you'd have killed him. Knowing full well he could have, Naruto also knew the result. And Trigon brings him back, only for this to happen still. We're not going to stop a puppet, only stall him. We have to stop the source, the big man himself. Any ideas? Humming a little, the fur ball had only two ideas. Option 1. We try and visit his realm, find out which universe he is in currently, and then take his ass out there, once and for all. That would require nearly the same power we used getting here on a much larger scale, and the luck to actually get there instead of a random dimension. Option 2. We wait, and let the girl become the doorway, opening the seal to bring him here, and then use every ounce of power we can draw upon that this world can hold, and strike him down. I'm not fond of either, but my guess is we will be getting option B if we don't go for option A. Like you said, it's useless to fight a puppet. After a while, most of the team left to take care of Raven, but Nightwing and Hinata stayed behind to talk to Naruto. Hinata stayed back so Nightwing could talk before she got a private moment. As the blue and black hero crossed his arms, he was smiling. Nice to see you again. Last we met was when I was wearing the Robin uniform. Naruto had changed his eyes back to the blues he was born with, even if it took a good bit of gene therapy from Tsunade to do so. Well, bird boy, not like you weren't ready for a change. So, what's up with the team? They doing all right? Nodding, he turned to Hinata. We have someone from your world helping us. Speaking of, looking back, Nightwing had to know. There's a few things going on about that. The first is, we sent a good portion of your world's people back, and Hinata is willing to go back as soon as she is done with whatever mission she has in her heart to do. Secondly, there's still 3 others, a couple blondes like yourself and a pink-haired one. Sakura, Ino and Tamari. You need to watch your back, they are dangerous. Shrugging, Naruto sighed in exhaustion. Oh, trust me, I know. Sakura attacked me actually, but she's in a cell now, thanks to the JCPD. But thanks for the heads up that the others were with her. I'll keep my eyes out. Offering a hand, Nightwing smirked. Try not to get in trouble, alright. Smirking back, Naruto shook his hand. You either. Before he let go, Naruto had to warn him. You be careful, things are about to get way out of hand. This Slade, he's a puppet for a demonic entity, you won't be able to take him down because as soon as you do he'll rise up again. This demon won't stop until he gets what he wants. Getting the Titan's attention, Nightwing was now in detective mode. What do you know about Slade's powers and return from the dead? Shaking his head, Naruto smiled and answered quietly. Enough. You'll find out back home. Trust me, I'm not the only one who knows what's going on, so you better go get the full explanation. See you around, yeah. And when you hear about how I know, try not to judge me too harshly, will ya? Knowing he won't be getting much more from the blonde, Nightwing nodded and said his farewell. As he left, Hinata came up to speak to Naruto. They don't know. With another shake of his head, Naruto took a deep breath to calm down. Best they didn't, not until they respected me a bit more. Best that way, though it won't be long until they realize who I am really. Naruto, the one who told them about you guys hunting me, the one who helped train Robin a bit here and there, is actually Kitsune X, the master thief, and leader of the rival team, Pandora. So, mission huh? Nodding, Hinata started walking around Naruto. Yes, a mission of the heart. One I refuse to tell you because if I did, then you'd probably think me selfish. Crossing his arms, the blonde hummed. Well, you left me on a sour note back when the freaks teamed up with the Frost 5. What's with the roundabout with me? You realize I can't accept you. As much as you've helped me, tried to support me, your family would disown you if you dated me, and I am pretty sure your father would want my head. Not just for dating you, or turning my daughter into a demon's whore, but also for torching the damn village after what they all did to me. You have a family, a clan, to go back to. I won't return, not for anything. Hinata had stopped as soon as he started his whole speech. With a soft smile, the brunette turned and nodded. I know. After everything you have been through, all the hurt, all the things taken from you, memories and feelings and heritage, almost your very will to be free, even after all you had given to the village. Asking you to come back was never my intention. Asking you to be mine was never going to be a realistic wish. Sure, I will always love you, you will forever be in my heart. But what I wish most is for your happiness, that is the only thing I want in my life. You to be free, happy, and given the love and care you deserve. Even if it is not with me. So please, do not let Konoha or its people who have hurt you most take away your heart, the one I fell in love with. Putting her hand on his chest, Hinata closed her eyes. Let it free, let someone in. And let love fill your life. That is all I ask. With little hesitation, she was gone, instantly out of sight. Naruto smiled and looked onward where the tower was. As he walked back to his own base, he sighed. Yeah, already on it, Hinata-chan. Try and find yourself some happiness too, will ya? And thanks. And with that, he himself disappeared once he was within range of his travel network. XXX an hour later, Pandora base XXX. What? Cringing from the combined and hellishly loud screeches of his team and family, the blonde was glad he used earbuds, but talking them out he still had a ringing in his ears. A fucking demon is going to be crawling out to burn us alive, you serious? Still wringing his ears clear of pain, Naruto nodded to Gizmo. Yeah, and it's the father of Raven no less. Like I said, he's as strong if not stronger than Kyuubi, at least at full strength. Our best bet is to prepare for his arrival, because as soon as he comes we'll need as many hands on deck as we can grab. Jinx was sitting, stunned. But after a long sigh, she rubbed her eyes. We who are thieves are being called a menace, when the father of such a hero is about to come and demolish the place on a whim. Some hero. Shrugging, Mammoth had another idea. Maybe she doesn't know. Sadly, the blonde tore that idea apart. Nope, she knows. In fact, just today she was attacked by a puppet of her father's, to try and use her as a way here. Kyuubi says she is the portal here, so my guess is she was trying to run from that. Shigo frowned a little. So we have, what, a demonic entity ready to wreck us, his portal being his own daughter, and a new ally helping him. Can't we just take out this ally? Rolling his eyes, Naruto explained. No can do. If we take him down, he comes back up. We can't fight a puppet with endless lives here. Even if we could, it's a guy by the name of Slade. Seeing his team blank out on that, all but Shigo, he realized what he said. They did mention they worked for Slade once or twice. That one, yep, he's the one who the big monster is using. And this time, he's got a new trick. Demonic fire magic, and he's not afraid to use it. Even after all of them were still stunned, trying to figure out a way to work this out, Jinx stood. Whatever you need us to do, we'll handle. Just give the word. With a smile, the blonde nodded. We start tomorrow. You'll be fighting me, as a demon. I'll let the Kyuubi's power come out to play and see how well you do. It really wasn't that much different than normal training, just a step higher. But seeing the steady courage of Jinx, even Private Hive, who was stunned silent, decided to agree. It was going to be a long couple days. XXX Underground Cavern XXX. Kneeling down, Slade was about to give the message to his master. He wondered what Trigon would say about the blonde's message. As the power of his master came through, lighting the cavern in red flame, 4 red eyes pierced through the darkness. Has the message been delivered? Bowing his head, Slade said with pride in agreement. Yes, she's been given your message, and your warning. She's grown in power, making this all the sooner you will return to this world. Chuckling, the father of Raven and demonic entity of hatred could only feel his return imminent. Good, she will be ready by the desired time for my return. She will become the portal, and she will bring me to this world, no matter how far she wants to run from me, no matter how hard she tries to suppress her fate. Slade, however, had another message. Master, there was a complication before I was able to bring about your message to the girl. That got the demon's attention. A young man, blonde-haired, helped the Titans in defending her. He was able to enter the realm your daughter created by stopping time itself. He was immune to this power, but not forever. He stalled me just long enough for Raven to run away, but I managed to find her. This young man was strong, and fought well, but he wanted to give you a message. He knew about our plans, and what we intend to do. That interested the demon greatly. What would another without his power be immune to it know of him? Who was it that could accomplish such a task? And why? Speak. What did he say? Looking up to his master, Slade spoke evenly. He said, Kyuubi sends his regards, that you will not destroy the world whilst I live in it. It would seem you have someone ready to fight you. With the fire around him growing stronger, Trigon's eyes narrowed in rage. That fox. He dares defy my right. He dares. He will not stop me, now or ever. He may very well have the power to stop the ritual in time for my power to deteriorate, making my resurrection to this world another year before I can take that which is rightfully mine. Whoever this boy is, he must be his own puppet. Find out where the Kyuubi resides in this world, and destroy him and this boy. Do this and I will grant you even greater power when I come into this world. As he vanished, Slade stood up. Consider it done. Master, turning and leaving, he decided to pay a visit to his young daughter. The blonde had let slip she managed to wound him. She would know more, he hoped. XXX Titans Tower XXX. As she finished explaining, the team was less than thrilled. Donna, who knew of magic, was even surprised. Why didn't you tell us sooner? Raven flinched a bit. She had expected this, and it didn't hurt any less. Because, they've been running from it my whole life. I just didn't want to think it was real, just a figment of my imagination. Donna was a little less than happy though. This is real as it gets. If we had known earlier we could have prepared the league for help. Maybe they can get a team ready to take him down. This is too big for us. Shaking her head, Raven sighed. They won't help. That got the team's attention. Static was the one to ask first. Why not? Taking a deep breath, the Ashen Beauty explained. Before I came here to jump, I went to the League. As soon I knew where he meant to come, I was going to warn them, but your Justice League didn't believe me. In fact, they tossed me aside, telling me to stop telling fairy tales and start growing up. Said there was no way I could be telling the truth unless I was the one who was bringing it. Even pleading them to help, telling them I only wanted Trigon gone, they didn't believe me. Nightwing came up to her and put a hand on her shoulder. They may not believe it, but what I seen of Slade, there's no way not to. Don't worry, we'll fight it. Though you may have to help us find out how to fight a demon. As she smiled, Raven gave Nightwing a hug. Thank you. Superboy decided to come in. Technically we have been fighting a demon. In fact, he helped us today. They already knew Kitsune X held a demonic power, as Raven told them, but as Superboy explained, it was one they knew well enough. That blonde, he's Kitsune X. Go on Raven, tell them. Sighing, the Ashen girl nodded. When Slade was bringing the building down, I froze time. With one word, I tried to stop the madness, and it stopped time around me. Though, that same power of control is not unfamiliar with my father, so Slade was immune. Connor had some kind of mental resistance, he was fighting the power of time, and as soon as I touched him, he was pulled in with us. But we weren't the only ones immune. Naruto was too. He fought off Slade for as long as he could, but it would seem he couldn't win. I don't know why, he seemed fine to me, but he lost. And I was taken by Slade, my father's magic activating and trying to use me. As it seemed, the team had a whole new problem to handle. Wally zipped up to her. Don't you worry, we got this. We just need to, what? Stall them until this whole business is through. Shaking her head, Raven didn't think so. My father's magic is too strong now, he's linked to me, and I'm here. I don't know if we can stop him. Pulling up the big screen monitor, Nightwing pulled several videos. What have we been doing here? Are we just some kids who took down some aliens? Are we just a few small-time villains away from being capable enough for the League? No, we're the Titans, the protectors of Jump City, and if we can't stop Trigon, then no one can. Who have we trained to fight? What kind of team has pushed us to our limits and back? Jump City is our home, and it's been pushing us to fight even greater threats. X alone has pushed Wally to run twice as fast as he used to. Connor's been growing not only as a Kryptonian but also with psychic powers. Starfire's grown even greater as a warrior, and without you, Raven, we'd not have been able to even take down that dragon. Cyborg's improved himself beyond his limitations, and Beast Boy not only has the advantage of changing into several creatures, but quickly enough with combat skills derived from experience. Me, Superboy, Kid Flash. We've fought the shadows of our mentors, we've been sidekicks, unable to take out what would only be our doom by the hands of their main villains and rogues. We've evolved, we've gotten stronger, faster, and better. Take a look at that. As the scenes all went from their several encounters over the years, to Kitsune X showdowns, to now Metropolis. Dick wasn't playing around. We faced and held back Darkseid when all the others were down for the count. Sure, X finished him, but we didn't stand down. If anyone can stop Trigon from using you as a portal here and destroying this world, it's us. The Titans all watched, and after a moment, the realization dawned. Connor had already donned this, and he wasn't backing down either. As he put a hand on Raven's shoulder, he smiled. We'll protect you, and we will stop Trigon, even if we have to find another way to pull him through to do it. Stepping up to her, Starfire nodded. I too, will stand by your side, as I did learning more about you through your eyes. You're our friend, our family. We will stop this Trigon, and save the city. Looking to Nightwing, and seeing him nod to her, she decided it was time to start. Titans, today we start training even harder, and learning how to fight our foe. Let's go. With agreement in tow, the team went to their stations, and were on full alert. Raven told them they had little time, and they needed every minute preparing. Smiling and watching her friends go for her sake, she could only shed a tear. Thank you all. May Azarath protect us. XXX warehouse in the industrial district. XXX. Ino leaned against the wall, looking at the fires farther away. Think that he had anything to do with it? Her fellow blonde shook her head. He was never good with fire, but I wouldn't put it past his ability to do. I would, however, put it past his ability to care to do it. Must have been another villain of the Titans. As the two leapt across the rooftops, they were racing through the city as they were worried about Sakura. As much as they were here on her word, she was still a time bomb. If she found him, who knows what would happen. Using tracking skills, as best they could, they found a diner that was busted in. The police were everywhere. Deciding to figure out what happened, Ino produced a genjutsu to look like a modern civilian and went down. Hello officers, what happened here? One of them behind the tape saw her inside. There was a break-in. Some freak with pink hair came in and assaulted a couple patrons. Luckily no one was too hurt, but this girl isn't going to harm anyone anymore. She's been put into a special prison cell made just for her so she can't use that super strength to break anything anymore. Knowing exactly what happened now, Ino thanked the officers, wished them well, and went up to see Temari. Bad news. Seems Sakura may have found Naruto, and wasn't happy. Unsure if she did, but she was here and assaulted someone, meaning she's lost her head. What do you think we should do? Sighing heavily, the Sand Kunoichi crossed her arms. Not much we can do. We rescue her and this time we don't let her from our sight. Whatever happens, we need to control her or else she'll ruin everything. We need to take away her ability to do anything but fight hand to hand, and without that super strength. Groaning a bit and rubbing her eyes, Ino knew that wouldn't help. Even if I did take that away from her, she would reverse it. She's an even better medic ninja than me. Our best hope is to fix her mind, but that's been broken for years with Sasuke. Do we just let her rot there? That's another option. Rolling her eyes, the fellow blonde was not exactly liking that one. And if she gets out? Know how incompetent these guys are. I hear all sorts of tales from people saying how many times the Titans had to take out a single villain, or how Batman can never pin down the Joker, yada yada. If she gets out, and thinks we didn't save her when we knew, she'll blank and try and destroy us. Whilst I think we can take her, I'd rather not have anyone, Titans or otherwise, breathing down our necks. We need to find Naruto. We need to start figuring out what we are going to about that. Faster we find him, do what we are here to do, we can ask Raven to go back, and that's that. After a few more minutes of thinking, they decided. Ino stood and couldn't help but growl in agitation. Doing this was a horrible idea. We should have just let Naruto live his life without fail. Now we have a psycho wanting him out of the picture, and our own desire to be forgiven not letting us think otherwise. Let's go save her and just keep watch. She may not like it, but if she even attempts to go off the deep end, I am going to send her right back to Konoha, dropping her off with Raven and everything. Deal. Temari didn't even hesitate. Deal. Let's go. Sooner we do this, sooner we figure out what happened to make her snap, and where Naruto is. With that, they leapt off to find where the Pinkett was being taken and held. XXX Underground Bunker XXX. Foreseen it just the other night, Ravager was in shock and unable to sleep. As the sun rose, and her computer powered on, she was ready. Hello, Father. Behind her stood none other than Slade, his mark glowing in the darkness. Hello, Rose. You've been busy. I heard you've been active, here in Jump City. What do you think you're doing? Standing, Rose pulled up her fights. I've been doing what you've failed to do. And like you, I've failed, but that's temporary. Isn't it? That is what you taught me. Failure is temporary, success is forever. I tried to beat them using powerful beings from another world, failed because the Titans had more help this time. I tried to employ the only one to ever beat the Titans, but failed to trick him. He beat me, but he isn't invincible. I am the only one to wound him, to draw his blood, for all I know. What have you done? You died, Father, and left me to fend for myself here. You left me, and all I wanted was your approval. So, do you approve yet? Or will it take me taking down Nightwing once and for all for you to understand I am the only worthy student you have? Growing ever angrier, Ravager was shouting at her father by the end. Turning to him, her eyes narrowed, she was huffing in aggression. Her fists tight, she was waiting for her father to strike. Humming as he looked at her skills, the father was impressed. She had trained well, even without his help. Seeing her wound Kitsune X, who she had catalogued as a blonde, who he just fought, he had to wonder. So, who is this X? Last time I seen such was Robin himself trying to trick me. Rose clicked a picture file and it opened to a rough digital image, which looked rather alike to the one he had fought indeed. Some interdimensional being, name's Naruto, and he leads a group of hive students as thieves. Some of them your old lackeys. He's immensely strong. Though I was able to cut him, he only ever used, what they call, taijutsu. Or, melee combat. He has magical abilities like ninjutsu, or the ability to create constructs out of chakra. But he also uses genjutsu, illusionary mind tricks. I fell victim to one such before he beat me. Though I realize facing him was a mistake, because he was able to do this. Slade's eyes widened seeing Darkseid, but then grew more seeing Naruto as X blow him up with a building. Looking to her father, Rose took her mask off. He's much more capable than I gave him credit for. When in Metropolis, he faced down and beat Superman, Supergirl, Power Girl, and all before facing and beating Darkseid. Though seemed he was incapable of much afterwards, as the Titans were still able to fight him. They let him go, however, and he vanished from Metropolis soon after. I feel we may have met the strongest being in this world now. But that's speculation, as who knows how powerful he really is. Knowing this information was valuable to him, Slade decided to use his daughter to complete his mission. Rose, I'm very impressed. You've done well, so well in fact I think we can go together, and rule this city. But, if we're going to be doing this, as father and daughter, you'll need to follow my rules. Hearing this, Rose was stunned. She never got any compliments from her father ever. Slade only ever loved her brother, who died long ago. With a smile, Rose put her mask back on. What's our first step? With a smile of his own, Slade wanted to know exactly who he was dealing with. Show me everything you have on Naruto. Once we figure out a plan to take him down, we do so without hesitation. XXX outside Jump City. XXX. A blonde with a purple shirt and blue jeans stared at the city, holding a backpack tightly. Without needing a single word, he started his way into the city, straight for Titan's Tower. It was a long day, having to rest after days of travel, getting his fill of food and drink, making sure he was ready to submit his resume in any and all forms was asked. The blonde in purple got a boat to the Titan's Tower. He was going to finally see them about his family. I just hope they believe I wish to help. It wasn't as if he was able to knock on a door here, but he wasn't going to just break in either. Coming into the main front lobby, the blonde activated a buzzer. For a moment as he waited, he wondered why they even had one considering no one else was here. It was as if no one came to visit them, just let them be. He got an answer, however, on the buzzer. It was the one he knew as Starfire. Hello, who is there? We usually don't get visitors. Not being able to talk, he mimicked talking anyway and hoping she could read his lips and believe the microphone was out. Mouthing simply, I've come to join the Titans, I have powers. I wish to do some good. No idea how I will manage getting to talk to them when I am right in front of them. Good thing I brought my clipboard. Let's hope I don't have to waste time writing and have predicted at least a good few of their questions. Seeing his mouth moving, Starfire was indeed to get some of that. But she was curious. I guess it's been so long since we've had visitors that the collar down there is broken. Strange, but okay. I will go get Nightwing and send the elevator down. Please be patient. With a short and noiseless sigh, the blonde was thankful that worked. It took a few moments but the elevator came down and opened for him, allowing him in. As he got in and it started going up by itself, he felt anxious. Would they believe him? Would they allow him to join and help? He could only hope. When the elevator opened again, he was in a hallway that had a few rooms and a red door at the end. It opened to the Titans coming to him, which meant he should meet them halfway. As he came up, Starfire flew in front of him. Hello, what is your name? Taking out his notebook he opened it and thankfully his name was the first thing he wrote down. He gave his written answer, which totally confused Starfire. Well, greetings, Jericho, I am Starfire. But, why did you not just say it? Once again, he has written this one down. Jericho turned to his answer and shown it to her as Nightwing and Cyborg came up to meet him as well. Nightwing's eyes narrowed a slight bit. So you're a mute, from the scar on your neck, I would imagine. Getting a nod, Nightwing hummed. I see, would you allow a psychic amongst us to read your mind? Jericho grabbed the pen, having not gotten that question thought of. Quickly writing on a blank sheet, he showed his answer. Cyborg turned to Nightwing. I don't know man, this seems a bit too fishy, a mute who's accepting the mind reading. Knowing they didn't have a choice, Nightwing turned on his heel. Come into the main room everyone. Jericho too. Raven should be on the roof meditating as usual. I'll call her down. He wasn't wrong, but not the usual. Raven was deep in her trance with Superboy in front of her as they slowly tried to pry his psychic powers free. Though Connor was a Kryptonian, he had developed some of his own unique powers. He was starting to gain better control over his protective field. Around him was a thin shimmering field of energy he was controlling thanks to the focus given by Raven. It wasn't large enough for more than 2 people plus Connor, but it was still stable. Their trance and focus were brought short when their communicators went off. The sudden noise causing Connor's field to zap back to him, and strain his mind, giving him a headache. Ouch. This had better be good, I told him I'd need concentration today. Bringing up the device, the daughter of Trigon found Nightwing on the line. We were in the middle of Connor's mental training. What's going on? After being told there was a mute that wanted to join their team and they didn't want to go through postcard answers, and to see what he is capable of in case he might try something, Raven agreed and stood up. Coming down. Turning to Superboy, whom she helped up, she smiled. You're getting better. It seems your powers rely on just as much focus as my own. I'll keep helping you if you think that you can stand the silence. Smiling a bit, Connor looked at the dark-haired witch. I need some peace and quiet anyway. Might as well enjoy it with friends instead of alone. I'd bet you'd agree with that notion too. It was a year of this, and Raven had to admit, he was right. She found it immensely more enjoyable with friends. Starfire was with her once a week, ever since their body change episode, but that was sparse and few between. Connor was with her every day he could manage it. It was still random, but it was more than Starfire managed. As they warped down, they noticed the mute in question, a blonde with a purple jacket and blue jeans was standing there, holding a notebook. Cyborg turned to them. Hey, you two, this is Jericho, he came to join us but. Well, we're skeptical. Mind giving us a hand, Raven? Nodding, Raven floated over and removed her hood, looking at the man in question. Are you ready? Getting a nod of agreement, he closed his eyes and let himself open his mind. Raven did the same before opening them again, white as her powers activated. Azarath. Her world shimmered as she entered his mind, and when it focused, she was standing in front of him, Jericho sitting in a chair in the middle of a nice living room with pictures surrounding them. Jericho smiled. Now inside his mind, he could speak. Welcome to my home. Not much, but we didn't have much after we left my father. My name is Joseph Wilson, but just call me Jericho. I assume you've got your questions ready. Go ahead. The name shocked everyone, as outside his mindscape, Raven had spoken, word for word, his introduction, causing some of the Titans to gasp, but Nightwing's eyes went even narrower. Raven, is this link both ways? Can I speak to him through you? Getting a nod, he took a deep breath. So, Jericho, you're the son of Slade. Jericho knew his father had started trouble in Jump, the reason he even came here in the first place. Yes, I'm his son, but I am not him. My mother was pregnant with me when she ran away from him, trying to hide from him and his enemies. He stood up from the chair. He's a prick, but he's one that refuses to do any kind of good with his strength. My scar is proof of how far his enemies are willing to go to hurt him, even when we tried to get away one cut my throat. I want nothing more than to bring him down. Hearing this, Raven spoke to the Titans separately. I can feel his emotions. He's truly angry with Slade, he hates him. He's speaking the truth. Though Jericho was not done before they could ask why he was here. He knew it was coming anyway. I came here to join the Titans because he's after you for some odd reason. I came here to stop him, but I can't do it alone. Especially if he has my sister with him. I want to help you take down Slade and to use my powers for the greater God, unlike she did. Unlike he is doing. Please, let me show you what I can do. Starfire turned to Cyborg. He seems sincere. It's hard to explain, but I want to believe him. What do you think? Sighing, the half-machine hero rubbed the back of his head, sighing. I don't know man, this all seems rather sudden. I mean, first we've got the dude Slade himself coming back from the dead, and to make it worse he's got this new magic from Raven's father Trigon, meaning he's even more dangerous. This all happened not 2 days ago, and suddenly his son appears on our doorstep to help stop him. This strikes me a little more like an inside agent for him rather than another one of us against him. Nightwing spoke up. Jericho, what can you tell us about your father to make us trust you? The timing of you being here is a little soon considering the threat your father is making. Your sister, whoever she is with him you said. What's stopping us from thinking you are trying to be his inside man instead of helping us take him down? Jericho took a deep breath before sighing. You don't have that guarantee, I am afraid. I cannot stop you from thinking that, because I am Slade's son, I am trying to help him. My family might be a big thing to me, but I care more about my mother than I do about my father, who betrayed us. I can't make you believe I am really here to help you defeat him, not this soon after we meet. But if you give me a chance, I will prove it to you. Please, just give me that chance. If you find that I am not helping enough, then you are welcome to do whatever you want to me. But just give me a chance. After all that, Raven turned her head to Nightwing. He's telling the truth, as far as I can tell. I say we give him his chance. Cyborg was still against it, but he turned and scratched his head. Fine, but the second I see something fishy from him, I'm tossing his ass out. Starfire agreed with Raven to give him a chance, and Nightwing was left with the decision. Knowing full well what Slade was like, he could see Jericho knew and was on the right side of things. Alright, you get your chance, Jericho. Welcome to the Titans. Before we fully accept you, though, what kind of powers do you have? You said you had some superpowers, right? As the link was still connected, Jericho smiled. My power, if you are curious, is possession. I can look into the eyes of anyone, and possess their body. Though I never use it, it's what I was born with. Nightwing turned to Raven, then to Jericho. Possession. Like a spirit, or evil ghost type of thing. Jericho asked to break the mental link and show everyone. Though cautious, Starfire accepted being a test. When it was broken, he showed them exactly what he could do. Looking into Starfire's eyes, his body vanished in a ball of light as it passed into Starfire, who gasped. She was on her feet still, however, and she turned to the group, who took a stance to fight. I can possess anyone as long as they are either unprepared, weak-willed, or willing. As long as I see their eyes, I can possess them. Satisfied. I do not like using this power. Though they were ready to strike him down in Starfire's body, Nightwing gave the all clear. Stand down. We asked for this. Yes, you showed us enough, now leave her body, Jericho. As he left, he stood where he once was and put his hands up, submitting. Nightwing grabbed one hand and shook it. Welcome to the Titans. And never use that on us. Understand. Unless specifically said, that power stays under control. Getting an agreement out of the blonde, Nightwing smiled and welcomed him to the team. XXX Pandora's base XXX. Blackfire was in her room, looking at her armor. It was a marvel of technology, much better than the first one she was given. It had lead shielding and anti-radiation energy conduits, even a lining that wrapped clearly around her body so that no radiation leaked from the armor. It was made of the best steel they had on hand, and it was full body. Though it still had the black and gold look she desired. Smiling, she looked to Naruto and Gizmo. Thank you both for this. The first was starting to be a pain. And after you broke it, I was worried I'd not have the ability to still be me. Gizmo chuckled. Well, Bud Munch over here made sure I had the materials. I'm proud to say it's my best build so far. Glad to help. As his eye opened slightly, he smiled seriously. But really, we're a family here. We take care of our family. And you're a part of it. So, of course, we'll take care of you, Blackfire. We don't want you to be anyone but yourself. Smiling, the Tamarinine stood up and gave Naruto a hug, and then picked the little guy up for his. Thank you both. Setting the blushing Gizmo down, she tried on the armor and sighed as she felt the radiation wash over her. Her eyes and hands glowing for a moment, she let her power wane. I'm ready for more of a beating out there, Blondie. When's the next session? Naruto turned on his heel, waving at her. Tomorrow. I'm tired as is. Know how hard it is to get some of this metal. Just enjoy today alright. As the blonde passed into the main room, he noticed Kid Wycould teleport in with Shigo, who had a new bag of clothes. Hey, you two, shopping go alright? Shigo smirked as she held up her back. Oh yeah, the owners wet themselves when they noticed me. By the time little Kimmy will get there, I'm all the way back here. Making himself some coffee, Naruto smiled. Good to hear. Tell Mammoth to get back up here when you pass the weight room, will you? I got something for him to do. As the two tattered off, Jinx came up behind Naruto and jumped on his back, hugging him tightly. You are just a tad too tall to just wrap my arms around you, you know that, Blondie. Kissing his cheek, she felt his hand on hers and held it tightly, smiling. Jack called, said Sakura's in the highest security he can put her in. Though he couldn't guarantee if semi-truck thick steel will stop the girl. Can you? Sighing a tad, Naruto smiled. Whilst I cannot guarantee it either, I am hoping so. Steel here is a large amount more refined and stronger than back in my world. She once took down mountains with her fists, but that is just rock. With her as unstable as she is, I am unsure if she can control enough chakra to blast her way out or not from the steel room. As for my height, you don't need to jump on me to get a kiss, you know. Picking her up off him and turning her around, sitting her on the counter in front of him, he kisses her softly. As she fell into the kiss, a hand on the whiskered cheek, he pulled back. Just stand there and look cute. Since I'm too tired to train, what do you think we should be doing? Putting a finger to her chin in thought, Jinx hummed. Well, I did want to train a bit, but seeing as you are tired and Blackfire needed new armor. I'm unsure. Want to play some games, or maybe just sit and talk? Finishing his coffee, the blonde gave it a sip. Whatever sounds fun to you. Before they could decide, Mammoth came in. You needed to see me, Naruto. Everything okay? Turning to the big lug, he produced a letter. From your sister. She said it was urgent. Though she didn't tell me, I assumed if I didn't get out of there I'd be in trouble. Oh, and the good private wanted your help out west, something in his job requiring a small bit more muscle than he thought he needed. Mammoth took the letter and opened it. Groaning, the big man tore it up. Thanks, I'll go grab my gear, but I'm going to be back and on time for our sessions. The stronger we are when that demon comes the better, right? Jinx waved him off. Don't push yourself too hard, you big lug, just be safe out there, okay? Getting a grunt of promise, she sighed. I swear, he's a big brother to me, and I'm still the bigger sister looking out for him. So, about our plans. Smiling, she kissed his nose and flipped over the counter onto the other side, smirking. Let's play some games and relax. Just being next to you is fine by me. As the new couple started playing a racing game, Shigo looked in on Blackfire wearing her new armor. Looking good, girl. Seems Gizmo did exactly as you said. Though a little green would go a long way for you there. Turning to the radioactive green lady of the team, Blackfire smirked. I'll take gold over green any day. But yeah, Gizmo did great, didn't he? How about a few rounds me and you? I'm pumped up for some action. Shigo waved it off, though, laughing. I just got back from a theft, no way I'm going to get bruised by you shortly after a success. Find another punching bag. Frowning at that, the Tamarinine was deflated. She was ready for some action, to test out her armor and to use her powers, granted by the kryptonite that was saturating her skin and overriding her illness. Though with everyone else too busy or not in the mood, she had no one to spar with. Mammoth was just leaving too when she saw him. Sighing, She was ready to take off her armor when Gizmo came by again. Oh, forgot to mention, the armor is supposed to be loose enough to move around in. Want to give it a test run? I'll set up some targets if you need 'em. Blinking at that, she smiled. Keeping her armor strapped tightly, she nodded. Sure. Though I wouldn't mind if you gave me a little bit of a fight yourself. Interested? Scoffing a bit, Gizmo smirked. I'm more a techno geek, not much in the way of a warrior like you. But I ain't letting the rest of you dorks fight that thing alone. Been working on a few improvements to my own gear I want to test out. If you really want to go, mind if I give it my all? Grinning, punching her fist as her eyes started to glow, Blackfire nodded. Wouldn't want anything less from you, twerp. As they entered the training room, Gizmo activated a few targets moving as fast as the simulator could handle. Let's give you a little warm-up first. Get used to the armor and how it feels. Try flying around and hitting these targets at different angles. Again, need to know if I need to make adjustments. Seeing he was considering her comfort with the armor, she flew up and started chasing the targets around her. As she flew in circles and blasted the first one, she was feeling how different the suit was to the first one given to her. This one was much lighter, but also tighter to her body, meaning it was pressed to her chest more than the other one to reduce leaking of the radiation, and it was all absorbed into her skin. This was causing a bit of a chafe in her sides, but otherwise, her limb movement was perfect. As she destroyed the next two, she felt her side biting into her, the clamp causing a sting when she turned. Stopping the practice, she flew down. It's a little tight on my sides, the clamps keeping it tight to my chest sting and chafe my sides. Think you can loosen them or make them a little less of a bother? Gizmo nodded and they went to his lab. As she took off the suit and gave it to him, she noticed him blush and turn heavily. So the clamps inside. Nothing else. Need I adjust the breastplate? Blinking a tad, she looked down to notice she was topless. She forgot that the suit required full contact to her skin to give her the benefit of the radiation to its fullest. Grabbing the nearest cloth, she covered herself. Yeah, I'll be fine. The chest was good, sorry about that. Waving it off, Gizmo started taking the clamps off the suit. Don't worry, it's fine. You look good, don't be sorry for how you look. He flinched a bit at that and dug into the suit nervously. I'll shut up. Blackfire blinked more but smiled a tad. Pretty cute for a little guy like him to find me beautiful. I know I look good, but to be appreciated like that without flaunting it. Feels good to know. It was an awkward silence for a while before Gizmo attached new clamps that went over a zipper with padding. He had to stretch the sides out just a tad to give it room too. As he gave it to the Tamarinine, he smiled. There. This should fit well. Turning around to be polite, Blackfire quickly slipped the chest piece on and turned a bit, giving it a few stretches before giving her vote. Smiling as the padding felt warm and nice, she gave Gizmo a pat on the back. Thanks, Gizmo. Feels just right now. Still up for a few rounds. Turning with a smile, the young mechanist nodded and followed her back to the training room. Watching them, Kid Wykid smirked and chuckled to himself. Take a smart ass like him who makes himself stronger, and a strong woman like her who's fighting much smarter, and you have a very tough combo. Best get back to my reading. Batman sure has a lot on his plate this week. XXX. A week later. XXX. Rose was huffing as she held her side, scorched from her father's magic, her mask broken off and her arm bleeding and wounded. Not yet. I can still fight. Walking up to his daughter, Slade narrowed his eyes. Time's up, Rose. You're starting to disappoint me if you can't understand when the battle is lost. Don't let your enemy beat you, escape to beat him another day. Ha! Slamming his heel in her face, Rose flew to the wall and smacked against it with a loud thump, causing her to lose consciousness. Miserable brat. Only Grant ever learned. The only one who got it and made me proud. I bet your younger brother is stronger than you, Rose. Rest on that. With that, he left to the computer. It was getting close to the time he needed to strike once more. Watching as the Titans faced off against Mad Mod again, he narrowed his eyes. 4 red eyes appeared in front of him. You are wasting time. Where's the brat under Kyuubi's command? I cannot find the fox. He must be hiding from me and using the boy to stop me. He thinks I am not worthy of his time. He is wrong. I will find him and tear his tails clean off. Find this blonde brat and bring him to me so I can find the Kyuubi. Once I have, you will help bring me forth to destroy him using my daughter. The time is approaching. Deathstroke nodded. Yes, of course. But I wonder why he has not appeared yet. Patterns prove useless now. He has not come out of hiding since the time I fought him, unlike usual. The Titans have been proving themselves even stronger than the normal villains they fight, making Jump such a safe place now. It's almost ironic a thief and criminal helped them do a better job. But he himself has a team. I can only fathom he is training them to face me at some point. I assume I will need to cause more trouble. The growling demon Trigon was silent in his speech but was frustrated beyond normal means. Go forth and activate the monuments of my resurrection. If that does not signal the Kyuubi I am approaching, then nothing will. With his orders given, the demon vanished from sight. Slade smirked under his mask. Good idea. Now to find the temples of the Church of Blood. Bringing up his database, he started searching for any mentions and exact locations. Wonder if they still have members around to fill them. Who cares? If they stand in my way, I will destroy them. XXX high security jail under the water, miles away from Jump City XXX. Dents and cracks and shavings of metal filling the cell. Another loud ringing sounds through the room as a bloody, clotted scabbing fist slams into another wall, cutting into the jagged edges of previous attempts by the Pinkett. Let me the fuck out, you bastards. I will end you. I will end that pervert asshole blonde and the life of that bitch slut look like. Ah, another on the other wall cutting into her elbow as she rammed into it arm first. Expending all her energy, she sat down right against the wall, tears having stained her face. She started crying even more as she healed her hands. I just wanted. I don't know what I want. I'm just so fucking broken. I can't stop. I can't. Ah. Shush. Hell, you've got to be quiet. Looking around, Sakura was surprised to hear that voice. Wait, Ino, that you? Slowly a breeze started sweeping her up towards the top latch of the cage that was still extremely heavy and big and locked by several heavy bars on the other side. Tamari. Ino looked through the bars wearing her outfit with the purple cloak and the flower mask. She put a finger to her lips. We saw Eid shush. We're busting you out. Gods know why after what we learned. You attacked him. What the hell, Sakura? We're here to apologize and talk to him. But, her head started hurting as the internal debate began again. Rage filling her, she used what little of her chakra was left to cling to the door. Just shut up. I did what I had to. Whatever it was, I just want to forget it, okay? Just get me out of here. Grabbing Sakura's throat, Ino brought her close to the bars. Shut up, or we all get caught. Then where would we be? Just stay right there. We got the keys. Relax, will you? Here, we grabbed you one of these. Handing the Pinkett a bottle, the blonde psychic sighed. Drink up, and get ready. The moment we get these bars undone is the moment you force every ounce of power you have to lift this door. Smart of them to make this cage for you, but I wonder how the hell they managed to make it. Maybe it was for another villain on the loose at the moment. Drinking the bottle whole, Sakura sighed as she felt her energy come back. It was a rare drink that gave back the user's chakra, filling them with power. Though they couldn't get any more when they got here, so they saved what little they had left for fighting Naruto. As far as Sakura knew, it was their last one. Just hurry up. XXX the morning after, Police HQ XXX. Jack was storming everyone to the supervillain facility off the coast. He and his wife grabbing their snipers and pistols as they loaded up. Taking a smoke, they both began to get to the chopper. Our own little Pinkett was nothing compared to the trouble this girl is causing us. Nodding, his wife slipped on her goggles as they sat in their seats. Think we should tell her. Her boyfriend might be in trouble. After taking a big drag off the cigarette, the gruff man activated his communicator. Code name solid and color blind in the chopper, ready to go. Waiting for departure. Turning to his wife, Snake cocked his pistol. She'll hear about it in the news like everyone else. Don't worry, the way I see it, he's got this girl beat. Hell, our daughter actually beat her this time so we could jail her finally. Whoever is working with her needs to be caught now. It didn't take long for the chopper to start up. Getting a ringing call, Kanan grabbed Snake's hidden communicator and shook it in front of him. Sighing, he shrugged. Can't blame me for trying and getting prepared. He's just trying to help. Outside the law or no, he's got eyes everywhere. Deciding to take the call herself, Kanan puffed on her cigarette as she answered. Snake is a little busy. Hello again, Otakon, what eyes found whom? After a few moments, her eyes went wide and she slowly gave the communicator to her husband. Snake, you might want to take this one. XXX end. Extra scene. Gotham Future, Terry's most trusted friend XXX. Though he just learned everything the big man had to tell him, the new Batman, Terry McGinnis was not buying it. After all, he knew of Kitsune X, after facing him several times the past couple years. After all, the chaos surrounding the thief, he was stunned to hear he was more of a hero than even some of the Justice League. He couldn't believe it, and he wasn't about to believe everything the old man said after everything he learned about him and Amanda Waller. No, he needed someone he could trust, someone who knew X by heart. He needed to see the one who's been training him to be even stronger after the Joker incident. Entering a large building and climbing the stairs to the top, he opened the main door to find a lean and muscular older man with graying hair and an eye patch, wearing black pants and facing a hologram that was becoming solid. The hologram was a woman, very curvaceous but also with a stature to be intimidated by as her long black hair tied in a long ponytail went almost to her ankles and her eyes as pale as the moon. Terry just stood there as the hologram became fully solid. He recognized this woman as Hinata, one of the Titans back in the day. Once fully realized, he looked in awe as both the hologram and his friend and mentor fought it out with wild abandon, elbows knocking into each other, stalemates and dodging hand chops to the back of the head, knees to the skull, a fist to the knee, headbutts, and several flying moves. The man was even stalemating against this program in weird ways as the woman flipped back from a strike before flipping with both legs rising up to meet the man in full force, only to be lifted and thrown up by the man. This did not deter her as she grabbed his hips and tucked her legs in, spinning fully and then kicking into the man's stomach. Being blocked by the hands of the man she was fighting, her body fell back and she pushed with all her might, causing her to let go of the man's body and kicking him up into the ceiling. However, the man pushed himself upside down and landed on the roof as if it was the floor before launching off it and spun back right side up, trying to land a rocketing double heel into the floor. Instead of moving, the woman put both feet against the man's and then spread their legs together, pushing herself up with one hand, and the other rising against the man she was fighting. Doing the splits on top of the woman's own splitting legs, he punched into the palm strike rising against him, which was now actually known to be blocking his punch instead of striking him herself. Spinning her legs and body, she spun the man around and both flipped back up onto their legs. The fight went on for half an hour before the woman finally dodged the powerful punch the man threw, causing him to lose balance enough for her to quickly turn on a heel and sent her other into his back, knocking him forward and on his back in front of her. The fight was done, and the man stood to bow to the hologram, which bowed back before vanishing. Once done, the man went to grab a towel from the bench, not even looking in Terry's direction. Thanks for not interrupting the fight. Hope it was entertaining enough for you. Coming in and closing the door fully, Terry smiled. Always amazing to see you work. The new Dragon Master at work, but I didn't think you could lose. Smirking a bit, the man tossed the towel away. Never could beat her. She's the true Dragon Master. I'm just the only one of that level to still be alive. What brings you to my dojo, Terry? Bruce giving you a hard time again? Shaking his head, the new Batman set down his bag and opened it, giving him an information log. No, he's actually given me the entire history of Kitsune X, and I'm not believing it until I get a second opinion. You know the guy better than I do, but you refused to tell me anything about him. Figured you'd have more feeling put into who he really was than Bruce, who seemed to respect him more than he does any of his friends. Think you can give me your thoughts, Dick? Taking the log, Dick Grayson, Nightwing sighed heavily before sitting on the bench. I see. What's happened? Shaking his head, Terry sighed with him. Kitsune X, his team, and the exes are gone. Wherever they are, whatever they are doing, they are gone. It's been a month and no sign of them, not even a single reading on chakra has been found. He's gone. Completely now. He vanished in this weird portal that sent me back in time. Remembering that day well, Dick looked up at him. Finally happened then, alright. Well, the short and sweet of it is, it's all true. I didn't want you to learn about this until you were ready. I wanted you to see him for yourself, learn about him yourself, who he truly was. Seems you're still holding a grudge. Short and sweet of it is, he is a hero. Saved this world more times than any actual hero. We took credit. Of course, he didn't want to be in the spotlight and he wanted people to know heroes were still viable. To me, he was a brother in arms. It took me forever, but I finally knew why he was who he was, and I left him alone. We just let him be. Well, all but Superman, but you already know why. He had his life, and the world was better for it. Sounds like a good trade-off to me. Terry frowned, however, as he was still not liking learning that the man he hated was truly the greatest hero, the one who did most of the things he was proud looking up to Batman for. But he nearly killed you and the Titans, he nearly destroyed the planet 3 times over. Chuckling, Dick shook his head. That's what he tells you. He is a trickster, remember. He's a prankster. Probably why there were so many times you were in the Batmobile and suddenly bubbles filled the cockpit and a dance track came on. I tried not laughing then, but that was funny. Terry, you've had what Bruce never did. A sense of humor. But apparently, even you can't laugh at Naruto's jokes. Need to lighten up, buddy. After an hour of talking, Terry was finally understanding everything. Smiling sadly, the new Batman stood up and grabbed his gear. Well, guess I should get going. Bruce might have a fit if he finds out I've parked the Batmobile for too long in the red zone. Still, treats me like a kid, you know. Waving bye to his friend, Nightwing smirked. He always treated us like kids. But never stopped us from growing up, did it? Take care, Terry. See you next week for some more training. Seeing Terry leave, the old man Grayson turned to the mural of his students and assistant teachers. At the top of the wall was Hinata, beside his picture. He's moved on to a better place. I hope. Keep your eyes on him, Hinata, like you always have. XXXXXXXX. As Terry McGinnis returned to the Batcave, he was greeted by Bruce. So, how did it go? Sighing heavily, the new Batman grabbed his suit and stuffed his bag in the locker. I didn't want to believe it. but if Nightwing says it's true, then I believe it. Well, I can't believe it, but I know it's the truth now. Nodding, Bruce turned to the screen as he started looking for police reports. Though he was never one to be the hero, he always did help when needed most. Just as Terry was suited up, they were interrupted by a sort of banging. As the two looked up at the stairs, they noticed a young woman who had black hair and green eyes with no pupils standing at the top of the stairs. Can either of you tell me where my cousin is? She's not spoken to me in months, and I cannot even get a hold of Kitsune X. As the two bats looked to each other, Bruce nodded. Terry groaned aloud before speaking up. Missing. All of them. Your cousin and Kitsune X are both just gone. We're unable to find them at all. I'm sorry, Mari. If I find them, you'll be the first to know. Looking in shock, the young Tamarinine flew down to Terry and Bruce. They are missing. What happened? As she asked, she would then come to know the reason behind it all, and grow even more in shock as to the situation her cousin may have gotten into from it all. After a wonderful night of sleep, Naruto awoke to a rather wild wake-up alarm. Get the fuck back here, you asshole. Groaning, the blonde got up and started heading to the noisy fight of what he could only guess as Shigo giving Kid a little lesson in manners. On more than one occasion the green-skinned adoptive sister of his pale girlfriend found the teleporter in her room when she was changing. Grabbing Shigo from running past him, he rubbed his eyes. Can you two just sit down and talk already? Kid's interested in you and all you do is ignore him. Telling him seriously what you think is the only way he'll listen. Growling and pulling from the blonde's grip, Shigo's hands turned radioactive. I don't care how he gets it through his head, he's not spying on my ass again. Apparently not in the mood for this bullshit, Naruto pulled Shigo close and gave her a wicked glare. Whether it's because he appears at the wrong time, or because he has the hots for your radioactive body, tossing fireballs his way and expecting him to listen as if it's a lawful thing to do is not going to work. Or did you forget? We're criminals, Shigo, and we don't follow the rules of law. We follow the rules of respect for each other. Instead of getting him to stop because of threats, try to do this with respect and dignity, or as much dignity as you can muster, considering our professions. Now stop fighting him, and start talking. Even if it's with a death glare, he needs to understand how you do not like this, and you need to hear from him exactly his reasons, and you both try to find some common ground to be civil. Got it? After a moment of letting it sink in, Shigo sighed heavily and just pulled free from Naruto's grasp. Fine, I'll talk to him, but don't expect it to go exactly how you planned. If he screws up with me one more time, I am tearing his balls off. Rolling his eyes, the blonde went to go grab some coffee and was surprised to see a hot cup with his name on it, literally, sitting there. Grabbing it, he smiled and gave a kiss to his new girl. Morning. I was worried I'd have jinxed myself when I thought you'd make me coffee in the morning. Smirking, the woman leapt a bit over the counter to kiss the hunk of her dreams. Ah, but no jinx works on you, remember. Sleep in well. Nodding, and giving a kiss back, Naruto smiled. Best sleep I ever had. In a few days, we'll be calling all hands on deck. Between Private, Kid, Mammoth. We're spread out a bit, and that's not including where Cheshire has been. What we do from here is going to show Trigon exactly what kind of hell he doesn't want to be in, and it'll take everyone to take his attention off his daughter. They had talked about that, and the Pinkett looked down a bit. As much as I hate the girl, I wouldn't wish this on her willingly if there was another way. Naruto and Kyuubi talked, and Kyuubi told him exactly what was going to happen. In fact, Naruto quoted him. In order to save the world from Trigon, he needs to come through into this plane. In order to do that, he needs his portal, who just so happens to be Raven. We need her to become the portal for Trigon to come through. If she doesn't, then Trigon will make this world suffer with pure energy. The future of that is the lead comes down, Raven becomes a conduit for his energy and will take the world down unwillingly as a demonic nuclear bomb. Like forcing a door open with C4, Trigon comes in killing everyone who posed that much a threat and taking over. Everyone suffers. Knowing full well to trust a really old demon on matters both old and demonic, and the word of the blonde himself who wields such beings' power, Jinx agreed. The longer we wait, the more trouble it becomes, kind of like every single time other evils have taken over in the world. After a moment of silence on that part, Jinx chuckled, looking down at her cup. All I know is suffering too, my powers have never been good. I decided to start using them for my own gain, for fun and money and to make others suffer, even just a little. I became a thief. I became a criminal, I became a villain. But now, life is good. I have a boyfriend who knows pain and fights for happiness, the only one who my powers cannot hurt, with friends who understand me, with a team that is being built like a family. With everything I could ever have wanted in life. For the first time in my life, I feel like the world is giving me the happiness it took away at my birth. And I want to protect that. Even if it means protecting others I may despise. That doesn't make me a villain anymore, but it sure as hell doesn't make me a hero. Smirking, the blonde put his hands on hers. I was a hero. You know this all too well, and it ended badly for me. I'm no hero either, but if taking on Trigon like a wannabe Superman is going to save the lives of my family and friends, and give me more dates with you, I'll put on some tights in red and blue anytime he comes around. Please don't, it's not worth the pain my eyes will feel. Grabbing some breakfast and ruining the talk a bit was none other than Blackfire. Jinx huffed and pouted as she turned to the irradiated Tamarine. Had to ruin my fantasies, didn't you? Was about to ask him if whenever we got into bed I could tie him up when he's like that, for a bit of a fantasy of finally beating a goody two-shoe hero. Rolling his eyes, the blonde had some of his drink and stood up. Alright, so real question now becomes, what shall we do today? That question was answered right when it was asked because Gizmo flew in fast. Hey, you wanted to know when that Slade asshole was on the loose. Looks like he's starting some big trouble, and spelling out your name. Pulling up the screen, Naruto noticed the big fiery red X in the sky over what used to be Hive HQ. Well then, he's calling me out in grand style, this must be Trigon's orders. Blackfire was a tad confused, however. How can you be sure? Jinx walked up to Naruto. Because he knows who Naruto is, anyone who was at Hive knows who Slade is, we were working for him at some point. Anyone who was in the wind he could still talk to. Naruto blew the place up, and now Slade is there posting a giant X. The end of Hive was the beginning of X. First Red X, then Kitsune X. Who beat out Slade's girlish wannabe, who had Naruto's former friends on her payroll. If she and Slade are working together, he knows Naruto is Kitsune X, and that he used to be at Hive. This is a big call to Naruto to come his way. But why face Naruto? Because Trigon got the message. Didn't he? Nodding, the blonde signed. Trigon must know I hold the Kyuubi. Either that or he thinks I am Kyuubi's pawn like Slade is his. This must be his way of trying to halt resistance. Gizmo knew the look on the blonde's face. Never been one to skip out on a challenge, right you blonde fucktard? Grinning ear to ear, Naruto chuckled with a nod. Quite right my shit-eating midget friend. And I think it's about time Pandora shows the Titans what it will take to fight Trigon. Everyone, suit up. We're going to fight a demonic force that cannot be stopped without cutting the master's head off. Perfect practice to see where we are. XXXXXXXX. The Titans were seeing the very same video, apparently sent citywide. The message was clear in the sky, as well as in the video from Slade. He wanted everyone to know what was at stake, after setting 3 more places ablaze within 2 hours. If the Titans do not come to stop me, I will, within the hour, destroy the children's hospital just a block away from me. Better hurry, because I'm growing impatient. Cyborg quickly commented on the location. He's at the old Hive base. The one Kitsune destroyed. The one who is Kitsune X now. He's there. Not to mention he is throwing up a big flaming X. That had the pale-eyed mistress of the team to comment. He's challenging Naruto. He isn't trying to get the Titans to fight him, he's trying to lure Raven out, and take down Naruto at the same time. Nightwing turned to her. Why challenge Naruto? If he could beat the blonde, then why does he need to specifically take him out? Taking a deep breath, Hinata crossed her arms under her bosom. Because Naruto wasn't beaten. Slade's mission was to find and start activating the portal, Raven, not fight it out with Naruto. Who was capable of entering the frozen world of time Raven created? It's because of the Kyuubi, his demon. Naruto isn't about to let Trigon destroy the world, and if the Kyuubi has anything to say about it, demon to demon, Trigon wants the Kyuubi out of the picture. Slade's Trigon's puppet, he's looking to end the Kyuubi's interference under Trigon's orders. Though even with that explanation, one that made a great amount of sense, Donna had to question the video. Why ask first then? After some thought, Nightwing had an idea. Raven, could he use the Kyuubi's power to get you to become the portal early? That was a surprising question. Though she turned to Hinata as soon as she recovered. As much as I know about demons, like the Kyuubi, I think the one who knows best would be Hinata. The Kyuubi's power is fully realized. After facing off against several threats and absorbing their power to save our world in the other dimension, the Kyuubi is now at a power we only believed to be a myth. The Jubi was the greatest and only tailed beast until it split into 9 different parts. Now the Kyuubi is the one with that power instead of becoming the Jubi. The power is shared between him and Naruto, who has many times more power than anyone in our world. In fact, it's because he unleashed his maximum power to scare us off that we even came here by accident. Remembering Metropolis, Superboy came up to her. That the same power he used against all of us in Metropolis. Shaking her head, Hinata turned to him and frowned. That was half his full power. He could get even stronger if he wanted to. And thanks to the Sharingan and Rinnegan eyes he stole from his enemies, he can interpret things at the speed of light, and with that much power coursing through him he can fight at that speed as well. He's the ultimate powerhouse in our world. And he's been using the kitty gloves on everyone. Except in Metropolis. He's been mainly using hand-to-hand against all of you. He has much more power in store. XXX half an hour later XXX. After suiting up, Pandora moved out and started flying and running out to the growing flaming Z in the sky. Gizmo in his new battle suit, a metallic covering over his body as his spider leg machine quickly sped him out, and beside him was Jinx in her new battle skirt and flaring shoulder dress shirt. Shigo in her standard green and black tights for the time being, but Blackfire's brand new armor fitting snug and ready, her powers glowing as she was filled with power. Naruto in his Kitsune X outfit, walking in the air as his team followed. He's about to find out what it means to mess with our world. You do not destroy our happiness, no matter how much we destroy windows and cars to get what we want. We leave the world we live in intact. Right, team? Smirking, Gizmo was laughing. Well put, fart sniffer, now let's go get this punk-ass demon. As they arrived, the flames died down and there stood Slade. Well, I thought it would take an hour, seems you've brought along my old lackeys as well. Huh, grew up didn't you? Jinx's hands started to glow, smirking as she got ready to fight. We've grown into more capable thieves and fighters. Thing is, Slade, you're looking the ones who will fight you and your master without hesitation to save the world, and all the valuables that he would destroy that we would like to steal and appreciate. The one to beat your master is X here. Putting his hands behind him, Slade gave a glare at the fox-masked red X's all over his suit wearing blonde. That's right, the one I fought last time, in the temporal anomaly that poor Raven created. I was not impressed. And neither was my master. See, the one who impressed him was this Kyuubi you talked about. You've been given your powers from him, meaning you know where he is. I was getting sick of taking out buildings in secret to cover my tracks and lure you out, but it seemed that only really challenging you worked. Pride is your downfall. After a moment, many of the group was laughing. Kid, Gizmo, Jinx, even Blackfire. Gizmo spoke first. Oh, that's rich. This fucking moron doesn't even realize. Ha ha ha. Sorry, Slade, you shit-eating fucktard. But pride is your downfall, cause your powers cannot even hope to match Naruto's. If it wasn't for your immortal ass being quite tricky to take down, you wouldn't even be here right now. Grabbing his swords, Naruto shrugged. Slade, Kyuubi's not coming out, because he's saving his strength for the real fight. The one we all know is coming. The Titans may be trying to find a way to stop Trigon from coming through Raven, but we all know, that she lets him through. Not without pouting about it I am sure, but she lets him in, and when she does, he's vulnerable. And so are you, if you even have a place in the world he makes, which I highly doubt. See, the difference between me and you and our masters is simple. You are a puppet on strings, waiting to be cut off. I am a lifeline, the one who gives Kyuubi perspective. His partner, his friend, his brother in arms. Now, you wanted me, you have me here. Are you just gonna glare at me and think of ways to beat the information out of me, or are we going to actually fight? I thought you'd never ask. Without hesitation after those words, the fire magic using mercenary, whose hands were already powered up behind his back, shot forth with a spray at the entire group. This, however, was met by Jinx creating an energy bubble that caused the fire to dispel from its direction and plumb up and around itself, before reversing direction and causing Slade to bubble himself in new fire and extinguish it all before behind hit, only for, when the smoke started to clear, be hit by a giant mechanical leg and then grabbed by a retreating mechanical arm and tossed into a nuclear fire right in his face. After being burned and held by a metal hand, he started to absorb the nuclear fire and start trying to melt the hand, only for it to let go instantly, causing him to quickly react to the next attack of that mechanical leg, only to take a hard spiral kick to the back of the head. Having enough of this, Slade built his rage into a large flaming bomb, exploding right on the spot in wildfire. But once again, he was met with his attempts failed, as his explosion was bounced off an energy wall of some sort, that was being held up by the purple glowing manifestation above him. As he let his fire die down, the energy suddenly caved upon itself and then, in a blinding ball of purple energy, the entire thing fell upon him at high speed, causing him to use his hands to jettison him out of the way. Huffing, Slade looked at the team of thieves, Jinx, Kid, Gizmo in a mechanical suit, and Blackfire next to Shigo. Turning around, he noticed Naruto. See, every single day we've been preparing. The Titans are getting stronger, sooner or later we were all going to face them and lose. So instead of letting ourselves lose everything we ever gained and wanted in a happy carefree life, we started training to be better than them. So we never lose. Ever again. Then you turned up and threw a wrench into our plans. So we started going at demonic training. Kyuubi's power helped. And now we have the strength and skill to be on par with his greatest puppet and asset, you. Slade turned to the group again, then back to Naruto. I'm impressed. In fact, I am more impressed that my daughter managed to wound you at all. It must have been a fluke. Chuckling at that, Naruto walked up to the man. Actually, no. See, ever since I came here I have been letting myself get lazy, to let myself just fight hand to hand, to unwind, to basically not become a threat. I only ever use my demonic power in an attempt to level the playing field whenever I face something truly powerful. Like Superman, or Darkseid. Or the Titans who are growing stronger day by day. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they could take you on. But seeing as you cannot die, and you will never quit, and no cell can hold you, the only way to beat you is to beat Trigon, and the only way to beat him is to bring him here. Digressing. Your daughter is a skilled one, but I didn't use a single demonic power to enhance myself. I bet if you and I fought it out one-on-one right here, no powers, just fists, and swords, you might present a match. But seeing as you're power drunk, if I start getting you on your knees, you'll just power up on me, play dirty. Checking his gloves to make sure they were tight, the puppet of Trigon shrugs his head. You must think so little of me, to think I have no code. You think that demonic entity Trigon would just take away the very code I have lived by and throw it away. No, I am afraid you are mistaken. I called you out here for a fight. And I intend to get one. If you want it to be just me and you and our wits, no powers, then I am happy to oblige. As long as your team does not jump in. Smirking behind his mask, and pointing up, Naruto gestured his team. Guys, he was tossed around without you all taking a single bit of damage. It's been a long time since you all fought the Titans. Please keep them busy until Slade and I have finished up. Jinx walked up to Naruto as the rest walked away, and after giving the blonde's cheek, on the mask, a kiss, she walked off the other side. Kick his ass. Heading upstairs, the Pinkett noticed her team were face to face with the Titans already. In fact, Blackfire was staring at Starfire, and both were getting a little closer to each other. Sister, still, you ally with these thieves and criminals. Landing on her feet, Blackfire didn't waver. Because, Starfire, you were wrong. I am not the true crown princess. Because of my illness, I have never, and will never, be considered anything more than a pariah. You know this to be true. I spent years trying to prove everyone wrong, that I was a Tamarinine warrior, the princess that deserved recognition. But nothing I did, or ever will do, will be enough. My powers only exist if I am being saturated by radiation, and that means being in a suit all my life on Tamarin. And if it ever broke, I'd be powerless once more. No, sister, I am not anything but a pariah to our people. I have come to accept that now. But I am not going to let anyone hurt me ever again. Like our leader, I was given an ex in life, and with his help, I was given my life, everything I wanted, put in reach. Now I can be happy. Hate him all you wish, hate me if you desire after this, but Starfire, sister, I will never let you or anyone stop me or my friends from being happy. That shocked the princess, her sister confessing, but also standing up to her like a person, not a vengeful spiteful evil. Starfire couldn't fathom why X was given such loyalty for being a threat to the world. Though her question died in her throat when Donna came up and spoke. Where is X, and why are you here? Stepping up as well, Jinx smirked. We are here to prevent you from interrupting X from his fight. See, he and Slade are having a bit of a battle. When they are done, Slade is all yours. But know this, Trigon is coming, whether you like it or not. And Slade will not be stopped until this happens. Stall him all you want. In fact, I am betting on it. Give us more time to prepare. As Raven looked at the new team of criminals before her, she noticed something. They were confident, they were bravely looking forward to a fight with the great evil. They were training with another demonic entity to fight her own demonic father. She could see that this wasn't a part of her father's plan. Raven knew that the second her father entered this world, he would be stopped. Though her fear of her father is still rational, she had hope, and no longer was scouring through books to save those she cared about, her friends on the team and everything. She would have to speak with Nightwing, who stepped up to retort. Prepare for what? Joining him. With all of Pandora chuckling, Shigo answered. Like hell. Whilst you all try to be heroes for this city against crazy British guys or flying moths, we're training day in and day out for one mission. Taking down Trigon. We're no heroes, but we're not about to let that monster take away our happiness and free lives. Our own demon will stop him, and we will help him. Raven flew up. We've not been taking it easy either. If you want to fight Trigon, you'll need to face us first. We're here to stop Slade, and if that means going through you, then so be it. But in her heart, she was hoping they could take her and her friends on. Blackfire floated up and her eyes started to glow. Can't wait for X to take Slade on first. Fine. Let's see which team is better now. Without warning, she sped after her sister, who quickly charged up and took the hit as the group dispersed. Slamming her hands to the ground, Jinx grinned. Pandora. Attack. XXXXXXXX. Being hit to the ground, Slade rolled from the throw that he was tossed with, only to flip onto his back and kick upwards, pushing himself up to send Naruto reeling, only for the blonde to stop just before the foot hit him, and sent a striking stomp onto one of Slade's hands, causing him to stay put long enough for the other foot to rise from behind and kick upwards. Slade rolled to the side and broke his hand to get out of the hold and then quickly reworked his hand back and grabbed Naruto's foot, pulling roughly back and launching his body forward with a deadly strike of his knuckles. Naruto quickly caught the strike with his other foot, kicked the fist up, and then brought his heel down hard on the madman's shoulder, causing him to let go of his leg, and giving him room to kick himself up and spin on his head like a top, legs spread wide and spinning very fast. This caused Slade to quickly flip onto his back and push himself on the floor backward and then flip himself back onto his feet as Naruto stopped spinning, landed on his legs, and rolled from head to upright without any trouble. Though Slade was met not with another strike, but the sound of clapping. Bravo. So far, you've been proving to me you are a master tactician. Breaking your own hand to get out of under my foot. Humanly possible, not, but you use your advantageous condition to keep upright. That's the mind of a true tactical fighter. But let's stop playing with kitty gloves. One last round, no holding back, we fight till you give me a bruise to remember. Deal. Slade stood up and nodded. I must confess, your skills are quite incredible. Nothing I have ever seen before. You fight dirty, but with integrity. It's unique. But I agree, it's time we stopped testing each other. It's time we see just how hard we can get hit. Deal. Grabbing the sword from his back, Naruto tossed it to Slade and grabbed his two from his arms. Then let's see if you are able to cut me more than your daughter did. With that said, Naruto instantly teleported behind Slade and swung, causing the mercenary to duck and roll out of the way before blocking the dual swords coming down on him. Suddenly turning his blade and himself, he stuck between the two swords and slices up against the blonde's chest, cutting up and against the neck. This forced Naruto back, but he only shrugged it off. My armor is top-notch. Nice try though. You cut my suit at least. Not even saying a word, Slade struck fast with a thrust, aiming for the heart, only for Naruto to redirect the attack and slash at Slade's feet. As the mercenary jumped back, Naruto hurried forward to catch him and sweep-kicked at the legs, only for the man to backflip backward. Giving chase, Naruto cut for the feet again and then slashed forward and up. Slade, who jumped again, was slashed along his chest, but his armor was only briefly cut, and chain mail flailed out a bit. Stalemating for the moment, Slade looked to his chest, only for it, and the rings that were on the ground, to evaporate and himself become whole again. I'll be honest, it's been a long time since someone cut me. Getting into stance, Naruto's eyes narrowed. And I'll be blunt, you share that fucking power with your daughter, don't you? Seeing the future for a few seconds. Smirking, or at least he thought he was, Slade chuckled. Sadly, nothing so simple and singular. I've been enhanced as the perfect hitman. No, I cannot see what you are about to do with some sort of future sight. I can just predict your patterns with my enhanced reflexes, and able to process information at a higher degree than any normal being. Even her ability isn't enough to stop me from beating her in hand-to-hand combat. Cracking his neck to free movement a bit, Naruto took a deep breath. You don't say. Still, you've not wounded me, only cut my suit. Oh, don't worry, I will. Slade rushed forward again, this time smashing his blade against Naruto's as hard as he could, causing an opening he swiftly took advantage of and stabbed into the blonde's gut before twisting around, grabbing the tip of the blade and lifting Naruto up and suplex him to the ground. Catching himself, the blonde quickly cut the leg of Slade off and rolled himself back up. Though his efforts were met with Slade tackling him to the ground and taking the blade back before stabbing it into his leg, pinning the blonde to the floor before kicking him in the head, Naruto's body falling with a loud thump to the ground. His leg coming back, Slade dusted himself off. And here I thought you'd be more of a challenge. Then he heard some laughter. Yeah, you say that, but two things. One, we're both rapidly healing because of our respective demons. Dos, mi amigo, is that I've been complacent in my hand-to-hand skills. I've been relying on my demon to help me take on powered individuals. I've felt the need only to supplement my skills. Now, I can go full out. En garde, asshole. Getting up and taking the sword from his leg, tossing it to Slade, he got up and stomped the leg on the ground, showing he was not affected. Without hesitation, Naruto rushed in quickly. The two were suddenly at odds, clashing and blocking, attacking without landing a hit, kicking and flipping. Rapidly their attacks were being stopped at every turn, and their guards stable. Slade's eye was wide, he was starting to see the fierceness of his opponent, his true skill in combat, and he gave it in kind. Naruto knew he could not keep playing defensive, and knew the only way to win in this fight was to take the hit. This is it, first one to lose a limb loses. Roaring and running, he came in against Slade, who saw a wide opening. Taking it, he quickly stabbed into the blonde's chest and tried to cut to the heart, shifting the armor, only for his arm to suddenly be cut off, and then the other, and then his legs. In less than 2 seconds, from one arm being dismembered, he lost all 4 limbs, and the blade even cut his head clean off, and as his head spun he watched as the blonde stuck his body to the ground. Breathing heavy and ragged from the blade in his lung, Naruto stepped back and took the blade from his chest, gulping down his blood before he could cough it up. He watched as Slade reanimated and took the swords from his body, and stood up. The mercenary knew he could be cut up or forced back, and knew he could not stop the man in front of him. You win this round, I suppose. But you'll not survive Trigon. Grinning, Naruto put his sword on his back, and teleported his blades from Slade's hands to his own and sheathed them in his arm sheaths. You won the first one, technically. As for Trigon, he won't win against Kyuubi. In fact, you can quote me. Kyuubi dares him to come through, dares him to enter this realm. And heed my warning, Slade. You'll regret helping that demon. He will toss you aside and you will not be strong enough to take on the Titans, or even me if you are even still alive. See you soon, Slade. With that, he vanished to meet up with his team. As he arrived, he was met with both teams at their ends. Only 2 were still standing from the Titans, and 2 from his. Gizmo and Jinx against Hinata and Nightwing. Well, looks like we're doing pretty well considering. Trained your team well, didn't you, Nightwing? Nice going. Huffing, he stood and glared at the blonde. We have to take Slade down, he's threatening innocent lives. Shaking his head, the blonde walked up to meet the man in black and blue. Wrong. He wanted my team to face me down to stop me and my demon friend from stopping Trigon. On Trigon's orders, mind you. But he also wanted to prepare Raven even further for her being the portal. He drew us all out, thinking he could take us all down. He's gone now and probably preparing for his next setup for Trigon. Go, grab your team and get out of here. And I'll do the same. Before he could retort, Hinata put a hand on his shoulder. Let's go. We don't have the strength to face Slade in this state anyway. And I trust Naruto. After a few moments of thought, Nightwing sighed and he started helping his team up. Let's go, guys. Slade's gotten away. Hinata helped him as she looked to see Naruto helping his team up with clones and vanished in the blink of an eye. Smiling, the Hyuga girl nodded. You still have the heart of a hero, Naruto-kun. XXX back at Pandora HQ XXX. Mammoth came into the med bay of the home with ice packs, giving several to each member. I'm gone for so short a time, and this happens. Slade's back. You fought the Titans and were no closer to facing this threat. Smirking, Jinx held a pack to her side. Yeah, but we were outnumbered and still had a draw against those guys. And Slade didn't lay a finger on us. We keep this up, and we'll be able to withstand Trigon in no time. Kid groaned loudly as he put 2 on his face. I'm still trying to get the hang of teleportation strikes. That Amazonian really took me down quick. Fixing a few of their friends up, Gizmo came up to Mammoth. Don't worry, big guy, you didn't miss much. How was time with your sis? Taking a deep breath and leaning against the wall, Mammoth crossed his arms. She is still trying to take on more than she can chew. The new organization she's with has her doing the dirty work. I warned her it wasn't going to end well, but she can be more stubborn than me. Naruto cleaned up his wounds, which were already healed, and sighed. Well, she'll come around, hopefully. Till then, everyone get some rest. You did amazingly today. 2 days break, but then we have to get back to it. Hearing his team agree, he smiled. They knew the stakes, and they wanted to keep their lives the way they were. Happy, family, and content. Giving Jinx a kiss, he walked out. We'll be back. Gotta check on the rest of our team out and about. It took a day, but Naruto finally found Private Hive. He was currently trying to take cover from a military group in the desert. Deciding to give him man a hand, he teleported in and took out the tanks, creating several clones to deal with the stragglers as they fled. Helping Private up to his feet, the blonde smirked. Seems you've got yourself in a pickle there. How's work going? Groaning and rolling his shoulder a bit, the mercenary sighed. Well, thanks to you, we'll be paid very well. But what brings you out here? Naruto crossed his arms. Trigon's getting closer. Need you back to base for training. I'll have a clone escort you back after you get paid. We need all hands on deck. Nodding and saluting, the mercenary went off to gather his paycheck, a clone walking with him. As he rapidly fled the scene, Naruto started looking for Cheshire. Having left long ago, he was starting to worry. She had said she was only going to be gone a year, but it has been far longer. It took almost 3 days, but he found information. And he didn't like it. He was heading up a mountain, closing in on the last place he wanted to go to. Assassins. Had to be fucking assassins. Sure it did, Cheshire has always been jealous of my ninja skills. Best damn ninjas being these assholes. And as long as his body hasn't rejected the pool just yet, Roz is most certainly still in charge. Kit, don't underestimate a man who's trained his mind and body for over 600 years. But also, don't give him a single quarter. Remember the rules I gave you. Kyuubi was anxious, he didn't like they were roaming the world as Trigon got stronger. As he found the fortress, Naruto sighed and took off his helmet. I know. Hey, all 100 of you idiots. I'm gonna give you all one chance. Either come out and talk to me like a normal person, or I take you all down in 10 seconds. It only took 5 till someone started walking from the door. It was a woman with piercing eyes and a very confident walk. What brings you to our home here? What leads you to seek the League of Assassins? Naruto shrugged. A friend of mine was said to have come around. Let me talk to her, and regardless of what happens after that, I get out of here without any fuss. The woman could see that, though he was uncaring on the outside, he was very guarded. He had immense training. And who would have come among us, you know? Goes by the name Cheshire. If she kept her outfit on the way in, green kimono and white cat mask, black hair, oh, and the ability to turn invisible. By the way, I said 100 offhandedly. If you think you can keep all 178 of your hidden jackrabbits from my sight, you're dead wrong. Naruto was hoping his observant nature would be enough to make them understand. After a moment, the woman nodded. You will first talk to our leader, Raz Al Ghul. Then we will see if you can start talking to your friend. The two went into the fortress, and the blonde had to admit it was cozy. None of that high-tech noise, it was kind of similar to a lot of places in his old world to go relax. As the duo made their way to the main chamber, they were surrounded by dozens of assassins on either side of the room, leading to the man in a throne up ahead. Walking up and kneeling, the woman bowed her head. Father. Waving like it was normal in the city for him, Naruto just smiled. Hey there. Your daughter could use the stick coming out of her ass, but hey. You do you, and I'll do me. Anyway, let's get down to it. I bet I already know what's going to happen. Standing, the man walked down the steps. Raz was slow and methodical. You think so? Your actions in Metropolis are hardly a secret. You're a man at large, Kitsune X. Do you think I'll accept you into our ranks? Taking a deep breath, Naruto just shook his head. Doesn't matter. See, the League's whole thing is a big loud gesture. Sure, you all are hidden and play in the shadows, but when you're done with the smoke and mirrors, whole cities fall and become rubble. Not very subtle. Listen, whether you want me here or not, let me just answer that right here. I refuse to join you guys. I'm no asshole who wants to see the world burn, I'm just a thief. That out of the way, I am going to assume you'll either try and kill me where I stand or let me go. Let's go with the latter, shall we, but not until I finish my business here. And just what is your business here? You do not wish to join us, and you seem confident you cannot be killed. Raz knew better but was hoping to give Naruto an impression. Chuckling, the blonde rolled his head a little. I probably could be killed, but not by your hands. I'm here to see a friend. Rumor has it she came to you. Cheshire. Once we finish our chat, then we can bargain on what happens after. After a moment, Raz turned to his daughter. Bring her. As Talia left, the man himself let his guards take his coat. Would you being here to talk to her mean you want her to come back with you? I'm afraid to say she has come of her own free will, she won't leave us that easy. No doubt she came to you freely. It's the brainwashing you did after that concerns me. Though I'll even let that slide. She wanted to get better at being a shadow warrior, fine. But we've not seen her for years, and my team is my family. I talk to her, ask her to come back, and if she freely says no, then fine. But your brainwashing isn't getting in the way of her free will anymore. If she wants out of here to help me and our family, she gets that chance. It'll only be for a month, then she can return whenever she wants to. Taking a few minutes of silence to glare at one another, Raz could see the blonde was adamant. Not willing to budge on a single item on that list. Smirking, he had an idea. No, I think not. You can speak to her and leave alone afterward. We are also family, and we won't let anyone take one of our own. Flaring his chakra, causing many in the room to draw weapons, Naruto spoke plainly. You wanna test me, Raz? Fine. You ain't got too much longer before that pool of yours rejects you fully. By the time I get old and wrinkled, you'll be dead by old age and no way to reverse the damn process ever again. But you want to test me? Then I call upon the right of choice. You win, you get to ask me of anything. I win, you know what the fuck I want. And I ain't budging on that shit. Got it? The right of choice. That is a very old right, but I accept. I win, you join us. Raz had a plan to play unfairly to cause Naruto to forfeit. He just hoped it would work in his favor. He heard how crafty the blonde was. Half an hour later, the two stood in nothing but their pants, bare feet, and bare upper body. The right was simple, as it was in the older days. If someone wished to have a choice in their own lives or the lives of others in their organization, opposing leadership, they would have to fight for that right. As with many rights, it incorporated a competition of skill. Raz quickly exploited his own part of the right. We will use nothing but our bare fists, that is absolute. That said, Naruto was handed gloves. Kyuubi chuckled at this. He's playing you, Kit. You know this, don't you? Tossing the gloves to the floor, the blonde smirked. My fists are bare. Now, are we fighting, or are we doing something else? Raz knew he would not be able to beat the blonde in a straight punching match, and his first attempt at tricking the blonde failed. He decided to go with something he'd been able to do pain training for centuries. Two poles came up with spiked edges and pointed tips. We'll be climbing these to their top, and staying there. The loser will fail first. Naruto scoffed as he clamped his fists on either side of the pole he had, and started swinging his feet to climb it. Roz, impressed, did the same. The two quickly made their way to the top and Naruto flipped upside down, closing his eyes as he clamped his fists on either side of the rounded tip, staying still as a calm creek. The two stayed in like-minded positions for 3 hours, each of them still like stone, never faltering. Though Naruto quickly found himself starting to relax, and it took a moment where his fist nearly slipped to realize the air was permeated with something, and his body was reacting to a sleeping fatigue. Noticing this, he quickly started chewing hard on his tongue and shifting his thumbs inside his fists. Roz, still as tone, looked over at the shifting blonde, smirking. Though after so long, his body was starting to take its toll, and he was having trouble keeping his muscles from locking up and suddenly collapsing. He just had to wait till the hidden perfume to take its toll. An hour later, however, Roz was really in trouble, as his arms were shaking, his body sweating, his fists starting to slip, and not a sign that Naruto was going to fall except for the slow shifting of his fists. Suddenly, he heard a loud crack, and everyone watched as Naruto's thumb knuckle popped from his skin, causing blood to run down the pole. Roz finally understood. Naruto was keeping himself awake with pain, letting his body stay active. But just as that realization came, his elbows buckled, and he flipped off the pole and landed heavily on his knees. Seeing this, Naruto sighed and leapt from the pole, landing on his feet. Popping his thumb back, the blonde quickly healed. I win. Nice try, trying to make me fall asleep up there with your scentless sleep poison. My former friends tried that when I attempted to rest one night whilst on the run. Didn't work for them, didn't work for you. Now, as per the rules of the right, I get to speak to Cheshire. Still the show off. Turning, the blonde saw a robed figure, like all the rest, but as the hood came off, he saw a woman with piercing eyes and black hair. What's going on here? Roz stood and tended to his muscles burning in pain. A friend of yours, he said. He wished to speak with you, and then leave here unharmed. And if you decided to leave with him, you would leave freely. Frowning, the woman sighed and rubbed her head. Naruto, I thought I said I was going to go train with the best. Why did you follow me? Glaring at the girl, Naruto stepped up to her. Follow you? It's been how many years, and you've got some nerve to be saying that to me. Cheshire, you've been gone for a few years, we gave you your space, we have you the time to find and train with a master. You don't write, you don't let us know you're okay. We were supposed to be friends, a group, a team, a family. Here you are strutting it up with these jackasses, and the first thing you do is accuse me of following you. Before she could speak, suddenly she was in a world of red and black, and they were in limbo. Looking around, Cheshire was kind of spooked. What the hell? We're in your head, where time is practically at a standstill in reality, but we can stand here talking for days. Now, you're going to tell me everything. Why are you mad at me? Naruto stood there in waiting. After a moment, he got his answer. Because, you're here in the League of Assassins HQ, and wanting to talk to me after I said I was going to find a way to get stronger myself. I've still not completed my training. And your friends and family. Jinx, Gizmo, Private Hive, everyone, you throw them away and never look back. That's how you decide to treat us. Naruto was getting pissed. Cheshire was never like this to them. It's not like I'm given much choice. Once I got in, I couldn't just come over for a visit. After a while, I suspected you'd all come find me anyway, but I don't see any of you for that long either, so don't make it out like you did me any favors. It was clear she felt somewhat betrayed herself. Naruto knew his technique could get past brainwashing, let out the true inner emotions of the one he used it on. Now he was seeing his friend start to cry. Wiping her tears, Cheshire just choked out her heart to the blonde. The League's been drugging me since day one, treating me, driving me insane. I still choose to get stronger like I have been, to be as strong as the entire League combined. I have so much left to learn, but I miss you all so much, I felt like you had forgotten me. Hugging the woman before him, Naruto sighed. We felt you were just busy. We didn't want to bother you if you were under strenuous training and unable to talk. I see we should have at least found a way to you earlier. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here. Suddenly the world turned white as he started undoing her brainwashing. It took only seconds in real life, but suddenly Cheshire fell to her knees and gasped. The League started to surround her, aiming their swords at the blonde, but he crossed his arms. Out of the way, she's not your drugged-up slave anymore. Cheshire pushed her way through and hugged Naruto close. Thank you. Roz was shocked. What's going on? Cheshire glared at the man as Naruto turned to him. I freed her from your mind warping, we've had our talk. After the brainwashing was healed, he had spoken to her about everything that transpired for the team since her absence. She was on board to help fight this evil. And we're going. That is for her to decide, not you. Turning to her, Roz offered a hand. You would leave your family here. I have no family here. You were supposed to be a master, training me in the arts of the ninja. You've done that well. But I am not going to be stuck here anymore. I'm going to my true family. Goodbye. I will not be coming back. With that, the duo started leaving. Roz knew now he was the one who was tricked. But he could not stop them, as the right was public to the entire league present. He could not undo his leadership by his greed. But what he knew was Naruto was the perfect replacement for him. Strong, unnerved, smart, and most of all skilled. He would find a way to bring him back and undergo changes to become the new head of the league. XXX at Pandora HQ XXX. As the two walked in, the team turned to see Cheshire back, and they all came and started asking her how she was. It was a bit overwhelming for her to see such care coming from them after so long, but she smiled. Though as she came in she noticed a new addition, a woman with black hair who flew up to her. Hey there. Heard a lot about you from the others, you're Cheshire, right? Name's Blackfire. Having undergone mental training during her conditioning, she had to question. Why does that sound similar to Starfire? Because she's my goody two-shoes sister. Blackfire landed and put a hand out. Pleased to meet you. Shaking the Tamaranian's hand, Cheshire smiled. Glad to have you. Always need another strong arm. Clapping, Naruto took attention. Today's rest and regroup day. But I want you all ship-shape tomorrow. We start our final preparations. Got it. As they all agreed, he smiled. Good. Now, I'll make a big dinner. Have fun and get your bodies refreshed. Catch up and be yourselves. The team did just that. Games and fun, having laughs. Cheshire smiled as she felt such warmth. She hadn't felt such for so long. Even though she was caught up with Naruto and the situation, she had fun and was amazed how much everyone else grew. Jinx was embarrassing a new look and even had a more toned body, Gizmo was growing a little facial hair, and Private Hive was much less militaristic. In fact, he was about ready to undergo a big change as he put it. She even noticed the new attitude of the blonde leader, much more free-spirited, smiling way more, and even relaxing around them. And she noticed he and Jinx were finally together. It was a great night for the team to catch up and finally be together in the same room first time in years. XXX elsewhere XXX. Though they were not the only ones regrouping, as Slade was nearing his ultimate goal under his master's command. He lit the final church ablaze and crushed the last seal. He finally opened the ritual chamber. With this, we're ready. Tomorrow night, Trigon finally appears, upon Raven's final hour. His daughter, however, was having trouble thinking. Her father was back, but he was beating her like she was a bug to be squashed, her body broken and bruised and her power fluctuating as she was trying to focus. Her mind reeling from her torment, but her broken mind was still clinging to the hope her father had plans for her, as his daughter and greatest student. Yes, we'll be ready to bring Trigon forth and bring you back to life fully. With even greater power. Stupid girl, this is just the beginning. Trigon's going to give much more than he has, I'll see to that. He will grant me more than I could ever imagine, the power to rival Kitsune X, that blonde ninja who thinks he is so great. We bring him to Trigon and force the Kyuubi out of hiding. And Trigon will make me immortal. Power hungry, Slade was laughing as his body caught flame. He was happily imagining the suffering of all who made him suffer, of the Titans and of the Hive. I will make them beg for forgiveness, make them suffer to the point they wish to die, and then grant them when they are at their worst suffering, sweet mercy and death. Make them feel what I felt. Seeing her father so crazily unstable, Ravager could only hope he would include her and praise her for her contribution, and hope he would not beat her yet again. I cannot fathom how much he has suffered, but please, do not let him make me suffer when he finally gets what he wants. I will give him everything to that end, please let him understand. XXX with Raven XXX. The Titans, her friends who formed her team, had done everything for her, put her in a room to protect her, based on everything they knew of the magic Trigon in her head. She was rather impressed by such devotion to keeping her safe. But all was not well. Her father was still clawing at her mind, still pulling her to his arrival. She knew she was there. In the future, she had tempted a spell, risking the life of someone to hope she was not gone, was not destroyed. But her father kept telling her he had much more planned for her, many more worlds to conquer. She may have given the future Batman into the hands of Trigon, an evil version of herself by accident. She could be corrupted. I cannot let that happen, but, what if it's fruitless? What if I only make things worse? I cannot let it happen but, my friends, Donna, Starfire, Cyborg, Superboy, everyone. I cannot let them get hurt just because I am afraid. What if he makes them suffer as I wait in this room? What do I do? Sadly for her, he would do just that. Thanks to Slade's crushing of the seals, he had given enough of an opening in the astral plane for many demons to start pouring into the world. And as the sun set, they started their assault. XXX the realm of hell XXX. Trigon knew he could not take the Kyuubi on when he first arrives. He would require as big a force as possible, and none were so large as the realm of hell's army, ever immortal and reforming, ever fierce. He stood before several robed figures. I have a proposition to make. Your goal and my own, they are not so different. The only thing different is who rules afterward. In a loud whisper, a force of nature made vocal, growling as they spoke, the Council of Hell asked. What would you have us do for you, and what would we get in return? Smirking, Trigon knew of their troubles. I bring the Doom Slayer out of Hell, to a realm that does not have the ability to make their own way here. He will no longer bother you. You follow me to that same realm as I take over, and stop a demon of great power from stopping me. As the Doom Slayer is stuck without a way to stop you, and my own rule absolute, I will grant my remaining army to help you conquer the next realm and dimension of your choosing. What say you? It took so little time, as the offer was so tempting. The Council of Hell spoke their final words before vanishing. Open the path, we will do the rest. With an armor of Hell Knights and Cacodemons, Trigon hoped an immortal army such as Hell's would provide just enough to beat the Kyuubi and his puppet. Little did he know, there were other forces to contend with, forces that would hold back his army as he fought the Kyuubi. He would find out just what resistance was still available when he arrived. XXX Pandora HQXXX. The team was gathered around as Naruto explained what he was doing. Trigon's power is immense, no doubt he'll try to use everything in the books to stop any and all resistance. Raven will probably provide her team with protection from her own father, but we're not so lucky to have her around to help us. Which is why I am going to use the Kyuubi's power with my own to grant us all immunity to his magic. He will not be able to stop us with magic alone. He will need to crush us in a fight before we fall. But only if we wear this seal. Naruto had drawn such on a big piece of paper. He took a deep breath. The power is so immense it needs to be big. So I have to ask you all to show me your bare backs. That is the only way this fits. After a few moments, the team turned and took their tops off. Shigo had to scowl at Kid to stop him from turning and staring at her assets, but otherwise, they were still. They knew the risks, they knew what needed to be done. It didn't take long before the seal was placed on them all. Putting their tops back on, the team turned to see Naruto sitting down. Jinx came to him. You okay? Nodding, the blonde just was short of breath. Huge power draw, had to set up a few clones with nature energy to do it. I'll be fine. Just need a quick rest. Everyone, get your gear and get ready to move out. The moment he comes in, we're going to be thrown into the deep end. Said moment came quickly, as suddenly the team was experiencing a quake, and their base was turning to rubble. Quickly, Naruto teleported them all out to see the world crumble before them, and the people turning to stone statues. It was the apocalypse of Trigon's making, and it was immensely powerful. The seals working, the team looked at each other and noticed they were still perfectly fine. Putting on his mask, Naruto nodded. All right, let's go find the Titans. We need to see how they fared. XXX with Trigon XXX. But our deal. It turned void the moment you attempted to turn against me or ask for more than we agreed. You will suffer for your insolence. Trigon rose his hand. Slade, who was quite angry at being betrayed, was suddenly zapped of his powers and was now a weak corpse still walking, as he tried to get up and walk to the giant demon. You'll be the first to understand the consequences of your actions. Now, suffer. Giant hulks of flesh and blood, talons grabbing the mercenary, Hell Knights took him towards his new prison. As the demons were closing in on their portal, suddenly their heads rolled and their bodies vanished. Standing, Slade saw his daughter, walking to him. Father, let's go. We must leave. Standing slowly, the mercenary shook his head. No, now, we fight back. But we have to be smart. And, we'll need allies. Looking at their surroundings, his daughter was flabbergasted. Where? Everyone on Earth is gone. Only we stand against him, and your powers were taken. We stand no chance. I beg to differ. Knowing full well there was still one who had an ace up their sleeves for this day, the man behind the mask grinned. We've fought against that blonde with demonic powers. We help him and his demon master, the Kyuubi, to fight Trigon. Come, we need to hurry. Faster we find him, faster we show Trigon what it means to suffer. Ravager was not liking this. Her father was insane, thinking Naruto would even think to help them. He hated both of them, why would he help them at all? But as always, she did not question it vocally and accepted it simply by following him. Yes, father. XXX extra scene. Slayer of demons, new hell XXX. He had chased a titan into a portal, seeing them begin attacking Earth anew. With his trusty double barrel, the Doom Slayer stepped through, only to find a world of ruin before him. In his head, he wondered whether or not he was too late. But he noticed no landmarks that he knew, he noticed no technology able to create portals, able to draw energy, no supreme power, and organization. Just ruin, and it was unlike the very ruin he had viewed and tore through during the first invasions. But he noticed not everything was dissimilar, as many demons he had killed and ripped to shreds over and over again were flying around, picking through the rubble and destroying everything in their path. They were looking for something. Checking to make sure he had shells in the barrels, the Doomslayer quickly ran and jumped to street level, and began his carnage anew as he tore through a Cacodemons eye and blasted a Hell Knight's skull into a bloody mess. All the while, one phrase kept going through his mind. Rip and tear. It wasn't easy to find them, but Pandora managed to get inside the little hole where the Titans had gotten to. Jumping down, Naruto quickly shook Nightwing awake. Hey Chuckles, time to rise and shine. We got a demon to fight. Slowly rising from his unconscious state, the leader of the Titans sat up on his legs and rubbed his head. What? Raven. His eyes snapped open and he looked around him and saw rubble. With that, he remembered everything. Damn it, we were too late. Getting a slap to the back of the head, he looked to his rival suited up and ready to go. Buddy, snap out of it. No time for a pity party. Sorry. Looking at the rest of his team, he sighed and started helping them up. As Pandora came down, the two teams started having some tension. Nightwing saw this and decided to ask two things. First, how are you all still moving around? And second, why are you here? Taking off his mask, Naruto sighed heavily. Listen, all of you. As much as you want to plaster our backsides to the wall, we're not here to fight you. We never viewed you as enemies and we never will. But to answer Nightwing's questions, I put a seal on every one of my team to protect them from Trigon's power. And we're here to help you save the world. Beast Boy stomped up to them. Yeah right. You were the reason Slade even got his grubby hands on Raven. You let him vanish when we tried to catch him. That got Mammoth's attention. Shut up, Beast Boy, you've got some nerve. And thus, the two teams started to argue pretty wildly, until Naruto flared his chakra and caused them all to shut up under the weight and power of his chakra. Dispelling it, Naruto glared at them. Raven would have been forced into this one way or another. With or without Slade. Not to mention, if you must know, that Slade was being helped by a demonic entity who would have given him more power to be freed. Oh, and do you not think it's poor practice to capture a villain inside your home when his target is inside your home? You wouldn't have stopped this. Raven would be used like she always will be if we don't crush him once and for all. So instead of wanting to kill each other here, let's work together to bring this bastard down. It took a moment for them all to absorb it, but Starfire picked up on something. What do you mean? Like she always will be used? Sighing, but glad that there was at least some intelligent conversation starters coming in, he answered the best he could. Simple. She's his portal to different dimensions, she is literally the door he uses to enter planes of existences. He is unable to do so by himself, he needs a proxy, a magical anchor. Instead of building cults which would take forever and be found out and snuffed out, he fathered Raven, the sole reason he did so was to make a consistent portal through dimensions. The more he conquers, the more power he gets, the more control he has on opening the portal until he can just use her whenever she flees into another. Wait, she's still alive. Superboy almost raced to Naruto in order to get an answer. Where? Rolling his eyes, the blonde just crossed his arms. I have no idea, but she's alive. He would have drained all her power and done something horrible to her no doubt, but she's still alive somewhere. And that's where things get interesting. Looking at Nightwing, the blonde nodded. She's the door in but is also the door out. In order to stop Trigon and send him away, we need to open the door again. Which means, someone has to go find her. That would be where I come in. The two teams turned to see Slade and his daughter walking up. It didn't take long before Superboy was suddenly on top of him, grabbing him by the throat and lifting him up. Ravager grabbed her swords, but before she could use them, Naruto was there and gripped Superboy's arm. Hey, don't go killing him now. Growling, the half-Kryptonian glared at the blonde beside him. You said he can't be killed, right? So if I crush his windpipe he'll just heal from it, won't he? Without warning, Naruto suddenly pinched a nerve causing Superboy to let Slade go and he turned the hero to face him. Except I can't feel any of Trigon's energy inside him anymore, which means he's vulnerable now. Killing him won't get us answers. After a moment of silent tension, Naruto turned to Slade. Talk, before I let him crush your throat. Rubbing his neck, Slade got up from having fallen to his knees. I'm on thin ice already, so I'll be brief. Trigon used me, just like you said. But what he doesn't know is I am still alive. I know where we can find Raven. The three teams stood in silence, the two rival teams contemplating. Nightwing crossed his arms. And why should we trust you? You helped cause this. Slade glared at him. Think I had much choice? I was dead. Trigon offered me life again, in exchange for helping him with Raven. I didn't know how he conquered worlds, just that he did so. I may have gone a little power drunk, but the fact remains I had nothing left to lose and all to gain. Sadly, my current form is deteriorating. Soon, I'll perish once again. But before that, I want Trigon dead. You'll have to settle on beaten and humiliated because there's no killing the bastard. Naruto sighed heavily. Back to the topic at hand. In order to beat Trigon, we need every single scrap of strength we possess. I'm actually surprised the JLA haven't planned for this. Before anyone could question it, Nightwing gave the answer, crossing his arms and looking down with a frustrated look. They never wanted to. That got Pandora's attention. Seeing the looks that were asking for information, he nodded. Guess there's no reason left to hide it. When the Titans joined together, we were first and foremost a team to help the world. But Raven pulled me aside one day in the early founding of the team. She told me everything. She had come to this world, fleeing from her father, and went straight to the Justice League to beg for help. They ignored her. Worse, they were threatening to put her behind bars for being the daughter of such a demon like she was his loyal subject. Ever since then, we've been training, growing stronger, and secretly it was for this purpose. To fight off the dangers of the world yet to come. Snapping his helmet back on, Naruto sighed. I'm having a word with those assholes. High and mighty right now and all, they need to be yelled at. But digressing, you've done great for the Titans there, Nightwing. Coming to the blonde and putting his hand out, he smiled. And thanks to you, we could push ourselves even harder, thank you. Slade had enough of this. We shouldn't stand idly too long. Trigon's power grows as he stays in this dimension, who knows what he will do when he finds out we still roam free. We should quickly find Raven. The blonde ninja of Pandora nodded. Good idea, but most of us should stay behind, add distraction. We need every hand on deck to fight the forces he brought forward. It's not his fire demons we have to worry about now, he brought over some nasty customers too. So what do you suggest? Nightwing was hoping for any type of plan now to help. He only knew head-on fight at this point. Looking to Superboy, Naruto nodded. You, go with Slade. He'll lead you to Raven. If he tries anything funny, well, I can't stop what you tried to do anymore, can I? Looking to Ravager, he smiled. You come with us. No trying to stab a Kryptonian in the back and all. Call it a good faith gesture. Suddenly, Mammoth spoke in a voice not his own. That's not a good idea. My father and sister are unstable, they could very well deal with us when we've used all our might to stop Trigon. Turning to his buddy, Naruto narrowed his eyes. Something's up here, what's going on? We've got a new addition. Jericho. He has the ability to possess others through eye contact. Nightwing walked up to Mammoth. This isn't a good idea, but I guess this was the reason you wanted to join. What's on your mind? The possessed Mammoth nodded. My father, Slade, he's an evil bastard. Letting him off this easy. He knows what he's doing. He's going to make this harder on all of us if we don't stop him. Noticing the blonde on the floor, being sat up by Wonder Girl, Naruto hummed. You have a better idea then. Also, don't even try to possess me, buddy. You would not survive a trip in my head without some scars. Already gave ample warning. He knows the second he tries, a demon will tear him out before he can blink. Smiling at Hinata, Naruto could only find her looking out for all of them as a good thing. He had to admit, she made a fine hero. Jericho continued through Mammoth. We shouldn't just let him off as easy. What if there's a fork in the road they take? What if he tries something? Humming at that, Naruto stepped up to his friend's body with a hero's soul inside it. Your power is gonna be useless. How well can you fight physically? Can you beat Nightwing one-on-one? Said leader of the Titans crossed his arms. He's got some skills, that's for sure, but we've established he isn't the best hand-to-hand combatant of the team. That title goes to Hinata. With that said, Naruto turned away from Jericho. Alright. You're the weaker link. As a hand-to-hand fighter you'll not best the army we face, and your power is useless against them. How about you go with Superboy? If there is a fork, you go down the road with your father. Slade looked to his son. Jericho, your mother ran away with you. Thought you might be dead. I heard one of my enemies say he killed my son a while back. Showing his neck, Jericho glared at his father. That was all that he was willing to share. Groaning, Naruto just clapped loudly. Look, enough bullshit. Superboy and Jericho go with Slade to save Raven, get her back here and make sure she's alright. The rest of us, we face off against Trigon and his army. Correction, I deal with his sorry demon ass, the rest of you distract his minions so he can't fucking cheat. Everyone got that? Seeing the second tail formed behind the aggravated thief, Nightwing just accepted it. Fine. Then let's not waste time. I just hope you have the same power you had facing Superman. Popping his knuckles, Naruto grinned behind his mask. Oh, I still haven't gone full strength. Sustaining it was the issue back in Metropolis after all. With that said and done, the two teams went their separate ways. It didn't take long until Naruto hovered up in front of Trigon himself. Hey bozo, how's it going? Trigon glared at the small being in front of him. You must be the puppet of the Kyuubi, sent to apologize, or to show good faith. Where is that coward fox? Bowing, the blonde chuckled. Oh, he's near, sorry, Trigon, but you're not getting a good faith gesture or some sort of half-baked apology. This is my final word before Kyuubi takes you down. You think the fox is weaker than you because, do you have some sort of power? Sorry, not buying it. See, the Kyuubi has his full power, and he has additional power thanks to something he and I picked up together back in my old dimension. Add in he's also now trained in martial arts, and you're looking at defeat. I'll give you 10 seconds to surrender and go away. It only took 3 before Trigon started laughing. This is a treat. Threatening me, when your master is nowhere to be found. And he threatens me with you. Tell your master I do not surrender, and if he wants to face me, he can himself. With quick reflexes, Trigon closed a fist around Naruto in an attempt to crush the bug. Only, his attempt was foiled, as his hand was forced open explosively, causing him to recoil in pain as he watched the bug sprout ears and 9 full tails behind him, chakra flowing from him like a typhoon of energy. Tried to be civil with you, asshole, now. Now you're dead. Good luck facing the Kyuubi, bastard. By the way, he isn't my master. He's my best friend and partner. Goodbye. Without warning, his body suddenly grew into a large Kyuubi form, flowing and glowing red fur, 9 full shifting tails, and claws and teeth sharp and at the ready. Green snaked around the body of the fox as his power was augmented by nature chakra. It's been a while, Trigon, too long. But now, you messed with the wrong fox. Trigon glared at Kyuubi. You possess a vessel. Your strength must have waned since we last met. You think you can take me when your power is lesser. I will enjoy crushing you. Without hesitation, the huge demonic entity of evil incarnate fired lasers from his eyes. Kyuubi blocked it with his tails, taking the hit before snapping his tails apart, breaking the beam and jumping forward with his claw wrapping around the demon's face, closing off the powerful lasers. Without letting him get the upper hand, the Kyuubi pulled Trigon's head in and snapped his knee into the demon's gut, then stomped the ground to anchor himself as he spun around and chopped the back of the horned demon's neck, sending him face first into his own lava lake. You were right, I had lesser power to be sealed within a vessel, but I have since obtained my original power back, and added in his own power for good measure. My vessel is the strongest there is. And we will crush you. Raising his clawed foot, the Kyuubi stomped on the back of Trigon's head and kept his face buried in the lava. Around the fighting demons, the entirety of the backup was fighting the demons that were surrounding them. The two teams were doing fine for their start, Hinata taking out 2 giant eyeball monsters and Jinx giving some of the fireball throwing small fry some bad luck, causing them to burst into flame and vanish. As the two fought together, Hinata could see the moves Naruto taught the pink-haired magic user. He's still doing what's right, even though he rejects the hero life. Jumping away from a much bigger brute, Jinx huffed. It was either this or let you idiots handle it. Whilst I am sure the Titans could save the world, I'm not letting my home or my friends and family be destroyed. Jinx grabbed the chin of the large brute and shoved her heels in the back of its neck, ripping its head right off. No one hurts those I care about. Smirking, the white-eyed hand-to-hand master spun and caused a large explosion of chakra threads to rip apart the surrounding demons, cutting them to nothing. He picked a good woman. As long as you keep his heart safe, I'll support your love for him. That took Jinx by surprise. Blushing a bit, the could only turn to Hinata in sputters. Wait just a moment there. How the hell did you know about us? With a blur of speed, Hinata was once 20 feet away, but then right in front of the pink-haired girlfriend Naruto had chosen. Hinata smiled brightly. Not hard to see, he cares about you. And so, I will help make sure you two are protected. Turning to see what the dark-haired woman's arm was doing by her head, she saw a large brute again, his body slumped back with the fist of the woman in front of her in his heart. Pulling back, Hinata nodded. Now, let's kick demon ass, and you two can go home. I know he'll be extra sore from using this much power for too long. Help him recover afterward, alright. Blushing a bit, Jinx could only nod dumbly before smiling. At least she's kind. Brutal in a fight, but kind. Jumping back into the action, Jinx kept up her strength as she faced these demons with a new friend. As Trigon got back onto his feet, this time grabbing the Kyuubi's arm as it tried to knock him back down, he roared as he got up and threw an uppercut the fox, sending him back holding his jaw. Without hesitation, Trigon tackled the fox to the ground, grabbing him by the throat before punching the maw of the demonic animal a few times before the Kyuubi slammed both claws into the multi-eyed demon's head, bringing him down and slamming their heads together, knocking Trigon off balance enough to charge a tailed beast bomb in his mouth and blast the entity of evil off of him with a huge explosive force. Flying away from the huge body of the demon slamming on the ground, Starfire saw him lay there. She floated transfixed on the demonic father of her teammate and was unaware that he was still conscious as he saw her there. Raising his arm, he attempted to crush her under his fist, only to be foiled as another flew right in and flew Starfire away from his strike. Getting pushed back, Starfire turned to see her sister. Sister, you saved me. Huffing, Blackfire crossed her arms. As much as I hate you for being totally against me, you're still my sister, and as much as you hate Naruto, he showed me what family should be like. And as your sister, I'll still be here for you. But next time you try and hurt my friends in anger, I'm stomping you into the dirt, sister. Now, let's kick some demon tail. Together, yeah. With a smile, Starfire could finally see the good in her sister coming out. Maybe in a way she had not expected or felt was actually good, but her sister was finally an ally in a fight. Yes, let us kick some butt. Saying that, Starfire and her sister flew off to tackle some flying bloated demons in the sky. As the two flew off, the Kyuubi grabbed Trigon by the throat, stomping on his chest, and started wailing on his face with fierce punches, swatting any resistance away before continuing his assault. It didn't take long before Trigon finally just wailed in demonic energy and caused the fox to jump away and cover from the blast. Raising himself to his feet quickly, Trigon took the stunned Kyuubi by the tails and pulled him off his feet, stomping on his ass and pinning him down before charging his eyes with power. Kyuubi could not stop the attack as the lasers of demonic fire scorched his back intensely, making him scream out in pain. Shoving her fist of toxic fire through the head of another large beast, Shigo huffed as she looked at the two large demons doing battle. Damn, what the hell can we do but watch this thing? Trigon's gaining the upper hand. Seeing several smaller demons ready to blast her with fire again, she charged her hands up, only to watch as one kunai got stuck in the ground in front of them, and instantly Nightwing was there and tearing their limbs from them, shocking their heads into exploding and then grabbing his kunai again. Huffing in exertion, he turned to Shigo. Don't give up on Naruto yet. He's always had a trick up his sleeve. Just keep in the fight, and take these things down. Who knows, maybe your brothers will start getting the idea you were in a league of your own. Crossing her arms, the green former goon pouted. Low bow there, bird boy. Those idiots think because they got powers that we should adhere to stupid responsibility. All I wanted was some success in my life. Now I got it, I'm living happily. Not going to let this demon of a father to your emo chick take that away. Whatever happens here, Trigon goes down and I go read my magazines and do my nails. Whatever those idiots think or do is none of my concern. Smirking, Nightwing stood on somewhat shaking legs. My mistake. Maybe Kim would like to know what you're doing here. Stomping on the corpse under her, Shigo just yelled in retort. Little Kimmy can go choke on it. I moved here to get away from her goody two-shoe shtick. Keep silent or I melt your mouth shut. Be thankful that the leader of our little band of family considers you in high regard. With that, she tossed a very huge blast at the acrobatic hero, only for him to watch it pass him by and smack dead center in the skull of an enemy he failed to notice. Now stop shaking, and get to work, hero. Without warning, the Kyuubi slammed his front legs into the ground and caused a quake, forcing Trigon to lose his footing enough for the fox to lift the demon by his trapped tails and then jump up, spinning upward and slamming the demonic father into the lava under him. Turning around, the Kyuubi grabbed the four-eyed monster and lifted him up on his feet, only to flip his head over heels and back on the ground. This was to get a better spot to then grab the arms of the humanoid demon and kick into his back, trapping the evil entity long enough for him to charge his power and let loose a sudden freeze breath, causing Trigon and the surrounding lava to solidify. Even going through this intense fighting, the teams were working hard to keep the huge demons from jumping the Kyuubi, though some were better equipped than others. Cheshire, with her new skills in the sword and acrobatic techniques, was chopping off heads and dodging fireballs left and right, cutting into any flying fiery skulls that came her way. Looking around, she noticed she was not alone in her area as Ravager was jumping from eyeball to eyeball in the sky, slicing some in half or cutting out several eyeballs, gutting some to swing to others. Though it didn't take long for Ravager to be grabbed by a huge hulking beast, horns all over his body, giant claws and fire breath sowing from his mouth. The monstrous demon threw Ravager into the ground and was about to stomp her when suddenly he was tackled by a large T-Rex. Seeing this as her chance, Cheshire ran down the Titan's tower and using her sword cut into the demon's eye. Though the blood and gore she was swimming in was disgusting, she had no other choice than to end this quickly, so she started slashing away, cutting into anything, clearing a path to anything that could be the monster's mind. Beast Boy was currently wrestling the demon, as it tried to push him off but also claw his own brain out from Cheshire's intrusion. It did not take long before the demon roared a deathly shriek and slumped to the ground. Its head was close to Ravager as she got up on a single knee, holding her broken ribs. Out from the same eye came Cheshire, cutting through and falling to the ground. Taking off her mask, the girl puked in disgust. Eugh. That was so fucking nasty. Uke. Getting herself collected, she looked up to see Ravager staring. Hey, no breaks, okay. We don't have breaks till this battle ends with Trigon's defeat. Changing back and landing next to the girls, the green hero huffed. Yeah, how long till he's gone, huh? Looking at the giant fight before their eyes, they could see Trigon break free from his icy prison and watched as he pulled the Kyuubi closer. This caused the Kyuubi to claw into his back, and 4 long and deep cuts were suddenly made as his foot slipped and Trigon's back spewed red gushed of blood everywhere. This was not over, However, as Trigon pulled again even harder and forced his horns into the Kyuubi's chest, causing the fox to cough blood before the two ripped away from each other. Beast Boy groaned loudly. Oh come on. What does it take to end this dude? Trigon stood and looked at his enemy, and noticed the red fox's green glow was starting to fade. Grinning, Trigon rushed in and started throwing punches. With every strike, he became faster and more persistent as the fox started getting slower and less precise. It didn't take long until Trigon gained the upper hand and caught an opening in the Kyuubi's defenses, and with a single open-handed thrust, his sharp-nailed fingers sunk into the chest of the giant fox, causing the Kyuubi to cough more blood, and to slump onto his knees. Everyone fighting stopped to see this. Mammoth, holding two halves of an imp, looked in shock. No, Naruto couldn't have lost to this guy, he prepared to the smallest detail. Jinx could feel her knees grow weak, but something inside her felt stronger than her legs. She knew deep in her heart this couldn't be true. Naruto. Trigon chuckled as he watched the energy fade from the Kyuubi. You fool, thought you could just fight me and my strength depletes. You seem to forget just which universe I asked into helping me. I have night unlimited energy pouring into me from hell itself. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop me. And this becomes the result. Suddenly, the Kyuubi's claws gripped onto the arm of the demon and smirked as his energy burst back into action, his fur burning bright red and green swirling around him. You are the fool, Trigon. You just showed your hand, and I have a counter. Hell's energy can be stopped by the very force of nature that surrounds us. Unluckily for you, that trick my vessel learned. I've been gaining such energy from him. And I just gotta recharge. Taking the hand from his chest, the fox stood quickly and kicked Trigon hard on his ass, and without hesitation jumped on top of the evil being, his claws glowing green. Go ahead and fight, your power will deplete, and you will be stopped. And with this, you won't be fighting back much longer. His claws sank into Trigon's stomach, and they both burst into a swirling energy of flames of every color, and everyone watched as Trigon was cut off from his limitless source. However, the source was not happy. With the link cut, portals opened to giant creatures of horrific visage and enormous size. As the Kyuubi finished weakening Trigon, he looked around and growled. Titans. Shit. Just as Kyuubi started getting ready to tear into the demons, one was suddenly scratching at its head, only for an eye to blast out of its head and it screaming, gripping its head in pain. Soon its head exploded into a gory mess, and the Titan fell, but from its head flew a man, and as the man landed, it checked its weapon. Donna and Static were in front of him. Who the hell is this dude? He looks like something out of a video game. Snapping his double-barrel shotgun closed, reloaded and ready, the man in a beefy green suit of armor started running off towards the next Titan. The Kyuubi laughed seeing this. You are such an idiot, Trigon. Bringing the powerful Doom Slayer here. It was almost guaranteed we would win. The second Titan managed to get behind the Kyuubi, trying to tackle the fox to the ground as Trigon got back up. The two started forcing the fox to the ground and beating into him furiously but were unaware of the power the Kyuubi was building in his body. Just as the Kyuubi opened up, he roared with power and the blast caused the two to fly off him and stun everyone around him. Standing up, the Kyuubi started gathering more energy to launch his biggest Biju bomb. Jinx, seeing this, had known from Naruto's warnings that it was going to be powerful, so she instantly turned to Hinata. Get the Titans, and tell them to tell my T as well, to take cover. This isn't going to end without a crater. It wasn't long before the Kyuubi ate his bomb and then grinned, seeing Trigon and one of the Titans coming right for him. With a mighty roar, he shot the powerful mass of destructive energy at them, and the world turned white for many. Though this was not the end, it was only the beginning of it.